got them to watch the whole way through. So instead of one video that died off at the end, of 2 videos fully watched to the end.
Gotcha. Well, I went ahead and popped us live, so we're live now, and hopefully folk will show up, those who are over there, and I'll try to let you continue running the show as you were earlier, because it's probably better that way. Especially if there's going to be any kind of debate environment, I'm just going to sit here and watch, because I got, you know what I mean. I'm a bad man. I got points to make.
Oh no, man! Seriously, after you mentioned about making full-time money and all, we sat down and we looked, and within 4 or 5 months, I could be making super chats and
right,
and all that bollocks. And I've already got one. Have you heard of Remember Sammy Jenkins?
No. Well, I saw him in the chat the other day. Hey, RSJ, how you doing? What do you want me to call you?
Hello. Sammy.
There you go.
He is my only Patreon.
Oh, so this is Sammy, the guy you were talking about. No, he seems pretty cool, though, despite what you said. Sorry.
I know what he says it to my face. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, that's his way, isn't it? Okay. No, I've never met him before. No, it's nice to meet you, Sammy.
Yeah, we were just in the stream. I was Watchtower Watcher.
I see. I noticed that.
You see, Remember Sammy Jenkins is his name, sort of tagline, who we all know him as, but then he started his own channel, which is Watchtower Watchers, watching the Watchtower of the SJs, or not the SJWs, JWs. And the channel needs more buzz. Sammy Jenkins has got a load of buzz. You've more subscribers than your channel, actual product does.
Yeah. I chose that until I can upgrade my hardware.
And you know what's really funny, man? When I actually look for you, as in this avatar, do you know your other white Remember Sammy Jenkins?
Yeah.
It comes up before this one does, which is your private one.
Yeah, wow.
You need to tag more.
Yeah. See, even if you don't understand, just do what Mathpig says, and you'll get into the algorithm.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Me and Chris and Nerdy should do a wee master class, maybe an hour or two, and just get any content creators like the Atheist Pastor and yourself and things like that. There's so many things that are so simple to do. Like just even adding a hashtag to the very, very last of your very, very last wee bit of your description. Just if you put in, like I've added Demolished Doctrine to every video that I do with Richard because that's what he prefers to go as. But because his channel is called Richard Madsen, when you hit Demolished Doctrine, you get my videos because I tag all my videos with Demolished Doctrine with him because that's what he prefers to go with.
That's right. That's right. In my descriptions, I put in other things such as other content creators who put in similar things because, we'll have a similar audience. And there's likely to subscribe to me if they like this other atheist.
Yeah, I don't know if you were in the community just before you maybe arrived, Chris. Lucy Luxor interviewed a fella called Omegon, and he is a British. He comments in politics. He has a channel where he reads because he's got a British accent, and then he has another channel where he games. And the British politics one, I told Lucy to make sure that she tagged politics. And she was like, well, I know nothing about politics. And I was like, that's fine. I'll ask one question on politics. The fact that it was mentioned, when you type in as the tags Lucy Luxor, Omegon, and politics in that order, if someone types in Omegon and politics, you'll be 5th or 6th down the list. And you may randomly get someone to come and look at you because they want to know what it's about.
That's right. That's right.
Just from that one question. Like, I don't want to steal. I wouldn't put in tags that's not relevant. But the fact that I asked that one question and it's that guy, it's relevant.
Right. And something else is to use all your tags. I see some people come in and they got a video, they post a video and it's got 3 or 4 tags and they're wondering how come they're not getting enough traffic on their video. Well, use your brain, think, come up with some tags and put a bunch of tags there. They'll give you a certain amount and you just keep put till you can't.
I have 3 different versions of Mathpig.
Do you?
No joke, man. I have 3 different versions of Mathpig. The way it's supposed to be spelled, the way it's spelled if you type drunk and fast, and then the way it's spelled math space pig.
Gotcha. Drunk and fast, huh?
Yeah, no, I did it. No, because sometimes when you type your own name, when you're searching and you're doing it fast and you're wanting to double check things, and if you notice, you always type, you slip to the left, you slip to the right, and
Right.
you always type in the same thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'll hit
Don't
U
text
instead of Y, and I'll hit C instead of space.
Right.
Yeah, so I've done that. I've sat down and I've typed sort of without half looking, and I've used that as a tag. And it's
There
the
you go.
general, yeah.
Yeah. And then there's a lot of things to do. It's just one of the things is as a content creator, my goal is to do various things. I'm a multi-pronged kind of person. My goal is to spread my message and to run a business. Right? That's what this is, a YouTube business. Is it not? I tell you, I've been a business owner and I've been an employee at a hardworking businesses where it's go, 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 go. And being a content creator on YouTube is work. I have experience where I can compare what jobs are like. I put 20 years in the oil field.
This is piss to me.
This is work.
This is piss to me. I know that most of my content, because you edit, and again, I was rude to you the other night when you said, and I didn't know what way to word it when you mentioned in the Discord, thanks for your tips on my thumbnails. And I was like, my tip was your thumbnails are boring.
No, that wasn't your tip. Well, that was part
Well, that was one tip, and I know that you were talking about the facial recognition where you place icons and stuff like that. I know that's the point you were trying to make, but
oh well, no. With the icons I make for my videos, for my series, I followed. As you know, here I am. I just got here. I'm new to the community, right? Well, I'm just as new, really, kind of to making videos. I started a long time ago. Watched a video on how to make thumbnails, the science behind it, and I applied that to my thumbnails, and that's it. But now, as I look, I'm thinking, as you can see, even during our conversation, the thumbnails I'm trying now are already different. So I was, because I think some of them do look good. Now, whenever you said mine were boring, you're right. And I actually kind of logically sit there for a minute. We actually talked for just a second. And I was like, you know what? Yours are boring. And it was more like a kid, no, you are.
I know, but I felt awful bad because it was your wee face, man. It was like, oh shit, I hurt the man's feelings. He's thought about this and put effort in. And I'm like, oh, I cut deep. I didn't mean
I was already questioning though, right? I was already looking for better.
But you see, that's the thing. Sometimes I don't have a filter. I just speak.
No, that's fine. It's fine. And that's why, whenever so whenever you saw it in the Discord and you didn't know how to take it, you should have taken it as sincere and legitimate. I really am looking at adjust. Now you have different ways of doing it. I want to try different software. I'm more of a this kind of guy, and you're more of a this kind of guy.
No, me and you, concept. I think me and you the only people is actually into the tube buddy thing, and I may actually splash out and do that. And we should do a thumbnail war relevant to yours. The way they can do the analytics and the thumbnails, which relevantly work better. And I'll do a thumbnail like yours, and you do a thumbnail like mine, and we'll see which one works better on each other's channel.
Well, we can do that if you want. I really do want to kind of move away from the kind of, because even I think they're boring. That's why I was already trying to find a different way for the live streams.
Well, thank you, man. That makes me feel a wee bit better because I thought that you were retorting in defense. And the fact that you've now said that is like, gosh darn it, Mathpig was right again.
No. Don't apologize. Feel bad. You really should feel bad.
You know what I feel bad about? Right?
What's that?
Do you remember Neil, the 604 Atheist, turned up on my stream there on the other night? Right? Neil turned up and I said to Neil while we were on stream, I was like, fuck me, the channel's famous now. I've got Neil on. I even said to Neil, look, I base at least 70-80% of what I do on my stream on yours. I've took the whole deconversion story and tried to incorporate a few other channels, and go from that. We stand on the shoulders of people who come before us and all the rest of it. And then whenever I tweeted out in the morning about it, I tweeted that when Sokka account come on, it was the highlight of my night. I feel really bad for Neil.
Talk about a backhanded show of appreciation.
But it wasn't meant like that. Now, the moment I tweeted it, right? Literally, the moment I tweeted it, I fucking felt it. I was like, oh, fuck. And then I don't want to be that person that deletes their tweets.
I forgot we're on my channel now. We're on my channel now, bitches. Sorry. There it is.
right? I didn't want it to be. And Neil, if you're listening, Neil, the reason I said that is because the pigsty is a fucking pigsty conversation. And the fact that Saka account would come in and actually it would catch his eye is the reason for it. I generally have so much more respect. And do you know when you get really friendly with someone and you forget how famous they are when you're friends with them?
I don't have any famous friends.
But you do understand what I'm calling.
No, I do. Yeah, they're real to you.
Neil's like a famous friend. Yeah, Neil's like a famous friend, and I don't want to offend Neil because I was so obliged and really, yeah. Neil coming on was just amazing, and the only point that Saka coming on was Saka being the highlight of my night was like, holy shit, the pigsty isn't the pigsty. Somebody actually brushed up the dung. And let someone else in.
I don't think Neil thought about it that way. I don't think he took it that way. He's a pretty good egg.
Good, yeah. Because I don't want to offend Neil because I have so much respect for him. Plus, I stole all the show. All my shows, all his shows. So it's like, I just felt bad about that, and I wanted that to be known because, a lot of love for Richard. Or not love for Richard. Jesus, that's just like a habit. A lot of love for Neil. I really do.
Yeah, I doubt he took it that way very much.
Yeah, well, I hope not, because only this last 7 minutes have I realized that we are live. So everything before that was all honest and not being monitored.
That's we can go back and actually watch the video where I told you we were going live.
No, sorry. Just edit it out tomorrow,
Hi, Maya. Maya's here. I'm saying hi to Maya.
Yeah, I need to load up my live chat. That way I know it's real and happening.
Yeah, let's see. Penis O'Toole is here. I love the name. Go ahead, Sammy.
That happened to me the other day. That's actually the story you heard me telling about the Aborigine creation story that I looked up. I didn't want that public. I didn't know I was live. I thought it was a private stream.
The one with Jay.
Yeah, until that conversation. Well into that conversation.
You were not looking. That would explain why you weren't looking in the live chat when I was screaming in the live chat.
No. I was horrified, but oh well.
I was there about 20 minutes before Richard and actually sent Richard the link to the stream when it was posted, and he was hooking about trying to find the link, and it's like, yeah, it's in Discord. It's been there 20 minutes. So we're taking over the stream. Sorry, Chris, go on ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm inviting Jay. Not that he didn't say he wanted to come, but I'm throwing him an invite anyway.
Yeah, throw an invite to Jay, man. Definitely, yeah. That would be et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Et cetera, exactly. That's right. Yeah, so we'll see. Momo. Carry on.
Just to let you know, Chris, I know you've got the stream scheduled, and you've got the StreamYard link scheduled and all, and you want me to be on camera, and I haven't told my woman she has to vacate the ground floor because I have the camera out. She doesn't know this.
Well, she doesn't have to.
Usually what I do when I come home on a Saturday is I would get up with the computer and play Snapchat or something with the daughter, and make funny faces with the camera and stuff like that, and we do that for about an hour. When I come home this Saturday, she better not be in the ground floor, and they all must be locked in the bedroom up the stairs. She doesn't know this yet.
I see. All right, so where we're at. For those of you who are watching, I'm making a morning show. I've been running it for a month. The 23rd will be a whole month we've been running it. And we're kind of developing it and working how it goes. I've got co-hosts now who come on for a week and co-host. There are other content creators, and we want everybody to sub to their channel. That's great. But it's still in development, man. All I say is it would be nice to have another face over there, perhaps, but I'm not going to hold anybody to it. If you want to pull your Mathpig picture, that's groovy, and your wife, she can be downstairs. I'd hate to have your wife hating me.
Camera, right?
I'll kill it with fire. Sorry.
As you sing, if I move about more than too much speed and then stop, the camera auto focuses, the light's not great,
Right.
It's just not the only thing I didn't splash out. Like, the camera was last in my priorities when I bought the fucking whole computer.
Right. Well, I understand it, but as a live streamer, I'm just saying it might Sorry, you might
Oh,
consider.
no. I'm happy, and I've already agreed, and I've mentioned on stream earlier that for your entire live stream, I will have my ugly mug on stream. And but if more than 3 people complain in less than 5 minutes about how much it autofocuses, then that's all on you, Chris. That's all
Okay,
on you.
I'll take the blame. I got some wide shoulders I can hang. I think it's going to be cool, though. I think we're going to be able to get, you and I went over our stream, our stream blade. What's it called? Social Blade?
Yes.
and I'm hoping that the Social Blade's projections are way low, because the full effect of what I'm hoping will happen with the morning show hasn't really come into play yet, and it's not showing up yet in our stats. But as we go along and we continue having people over, other content creators come on the show, run the show for a week, come on as special guest shows. All I'm saying is, so far that hasn't been driving a lot, and as we get bigger and go more, we're going to have a lot of that, and it's going to that curve is going to be greater.
Well, I know that it's very, very selfish of me when I say this next statement, but at 8 o'clock in the morning in Eastern Standard Time, where a lot of the audience would be at, is 8 a.m. in the morning. They can't be listening. 9 o'clock, they're on their way to work. They can listen in the car.
Well, okay, yeah, I get that. Well, actually, I'm not sure where you're at. You're in.
That would put me back at my original lunchtime, which is why I said I'm not being selfish when I say this. I'm just making it reference to more American time. But
that's right.
I did, but it is true that at 8 o'clock in the morning, I can't look at any streams between the hours. I would get up in the morning to coordinate.
Right.
And I can't actually, if I'm looking online or having a check on the phone, I can't see until 9 o'clock when I get to work and I'm settled.
Well, let's talk about the USA. I started at 6 o'clock Mountain Time. It starts at 6 o'clock Mountain Time. That's before people will see. So in Central Time, it starts at 7, so people can listen to it on their way to work. And at 8 o'clock is when most people get to work. So you're at work listening to it at 8 o'clock. So Eastern Time, it starts at 8 o'clock when most people are sitting down on their computers to go.
Do most people in America actually start work at 8?
8 o'clock is the standard. Most of my jobs have always been ended.
People over here do 9 to 5 or 9 to 6.
And they get to go to work at 9. Who goes to work at 9? Anybody in the group goes to work at 9?
I don't go to work at 9. I have to be there from 8:30 to fucking 5:30.
Right. Yeah. So if you're in Mountain Time when the show starts, it's before work and you can listen to it while you get ready. If you're in Central Time, it's between 7 and 8. You can listen to it while you're going to work. If it's 8 o'clock, it's a morning show, just like
many on Facebook should be watching. Because I've waved the odd time to the Facebook crowd waiting for you to put that post up on StreamYard where it's like, "Hi, Facebook people." How many on Facebook will be watching when you're live?
Man, I'm sorry. Let me get you the link. Can I get you the link? Let me get you the link.
Here, man, it's up to you. Like, I know even your wife told you when people get tacky on your channel, it gets boring and they leave. So, it's up to you what we do, man. It's your channel now.
I'm not sure what we're talking about anymore. We're talking about links.
I don't know where you went from the link. I just asked you how many people watch you live on Facebook when you go live in the morning.
Oh, okay. I missed the question. On Facebook Live, I've been doing Facebook Live like 3 days now. So I don't really know yet. I haven't. Remember the Mob Crush?
Well, I know that you were mainly from. That's where you started, was it not?
No, that's not.
Did you not start? Do you not have a bigger group on Facebook than you have on YouTube?
Well, right. I do have I've had a Facebook account that I've ran as, "Hey, I'm Chris," and I just post crap for Facebook for years. But as far as running YouTube's where all my content is, all my videos. I make all my stuff there, and Facebook is just a tool I use to push people to YouTube. I
genuinely thought that you were a Facebooker.
No.
You were a YouTuber.
And I got to be honest, I'm a YouTuber, and I do the social media part. I advertise on Facebook, but my content's on YouTube, and I'm trying to learn how to that's why I'm having a hard time with you. Saturday, we're going to talk about, or I was thinking about talking about, getting your advice and help on going from Streamlabs to StreamYards, right?
It's so simple. I have it actually sitting in my screen on the right now, sitting here beside me, sitting ready to just if I hit record, it would happen because it's been running from my last stream.
Yes. So And the reason why I want to get those working is part of the reason why I quit using that is because Mob Crush wasn't working. Mob Crush is what made it to where I could broadcast live to YouTube and Facebook. And when I tried it, it wouldn't work. Remember, I tried and I was like, I keep hitting the thing and it wouldn't work. So, and that was part of the deal. So I moved to StreamYard and it can do both. And now for the last however long, a week maybe now, I've been broadcasting to both Facebook but at first I was broadcasting incorrectly to my Facebook account. But there's a lot to Facebook. If you don't know, there's a lot to Facebook. There's a Facebook page, a Facebook cage, there's a Facebook group.
No. The last time I clicked on Facebook, like last week, I had 84 notifications and I just went straight back out again.
Right.
I don't even look at Facebook.
It's powerfully complicated. So trying to keep up with it, I haven't figured all that part out yet. I actually need to. But so only recently have I been streaming to Facebook and to YouTube. I don't know if the time of those happening is bad.
Well,
but really,
I don't know if OBS has given you that ability, but you could probably definitely Restream.io has that ability, and Todd can work it, and it seems very similar. He can work Restream.io with OBS. Plus, Restream takes your chat and posts it wherever the fuck you want it.
That's
so you
right.
can take your Facebook chat and actually post it into your YouTube chat, and it'll just come up a different color.
And all that's true. And I started out with Restream and OBS.
I'm doing this Techie Talk live. I don't know if people are bored or
Well, we could let other folk in. I guess I didn't notice if.
Well, I'm just saying, man, because it's up to yourself. Like, but we can definitely. It would be more interesting. I'm definitely willing to go through things right now with you. We're talking about it, and it's making me want to click buttons. And it's
right.
Yeah, it's easier to show someone than it is to talk someone through it, because if you've ever tried to do something off memory, when you're sitting in front of a keyboard, you don't think because your muscles take over.
Right.
And actually explain to someone, it's easier to show them.
Right. I didn't actually expect you to go through it. I was just stating that, in other words, I went from one to the other, to the other. I'm trying to get them together. Whenever I did OBS and I did Restream, that did work. But then I wanted to pull people in easier and quicker. That's StreamYards. So I went over to StreamYards and I got StreamYards. And it wasn't until I talked to you the other day that I found out I can do StreamYards and OBS together and make it all work right. I haven't got to do it yet. I want to, though. And I want to do that to both Facebook and YouTube. But you're going to do it anyway.
Yeah, right. Let me see if I can get this lead working. Okay. Right, there's two screens.
Yeah.
So I have, where's my mouse?
Okay, let me ask you then. So people show up in the StreamYards, right? And you keep that on one screen. Carry on. I'll just let you finish. Sorry.
Right. Well, do you see? You see my mouse on the right screen because it's dark. Yes,
I do.
And I'm going to slightly move left screen. You can't see it. And you can see it here. Yeah,
I do see it.
This is StreamYards on the left screen, and I have cropped from the live button right across, down here, and across that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have put it to fill the entire screen there.
I see.
And then I've added the frame. You just add a scene, add screen grab, and then crop until it fits this. And then I added the frame on the top, and then I've added background music. And it's as simple as that, man.
Yeah.
You just crop the screen.
Okay, so I get those parts. Actually, I'm really good at OBS and how to crop that stuff and do those things. I'm good at that. What the part I'm not really sure of is you don't use a paid Streamlabs account.
No.
But what you do is you create a broadcast?
I create a broadcast and set it to record and don't hit the record button.
Okay, so you schedule it for sometime never?
No, I don't schedule anything through Streamlabs or StreamYards.
Right.
I schedule it with using Streamlabs OBS with where's the button? This button here.
I understand that. I'm just trying to see what I'm trying to figure out is whenever you start your StreamYard, and you create the broadcast, it creates a stream in YouTube. You can actually go to YouTube and look, and there's that stream.
You're watching, right? You're watching. Okay.
Yes.
I will create another. I'll do it over here. Let me see. I should be able to do it over here in dual screen without actually leaving StreamYards. I should be able to create another StreamYard.
Yeah. Just do it in another tab, bro.
Yeah. And okay, so We have autofocus issues.
Right. All right, you know, I'm going to post this in the group. While you do that, I'm going to post this real quick. I'm going to post the link. I don't know Richard's. I don't know how to get a hold of Richard. Huh?
I post the link in there and then come back to me. I'll just wait.
I will. Let me just post it in here in the live.
Richard didn't know you could do this. Richard said it was impossible on the USA version, and then I just took control of his computer with TeamViewer and showed that it was.
Okay, so no, I believe. I'm just trying to figure out how. I'd like to get it because I think the stream can look nicer, and also I like the idea of not having to pay money for it. So it's already
set. I don't pay no money, man. Jeez, no way. Right,
carry on, brother.
And I have
skip record. All right, wait. Oh, wait. Let me pull that open. Let me see that. Somebody came in. Let me get Richard in. Hey, Richard.
Peace and respect.
Hey, Richard.
Oh, live long and prosper. I like that.
All right, so I want to do that. I'm doing. Mathpig is edifying me on something.
Okay.
Create a broadcast. I see it. Well, thank you, sir. Once again, thank you.
Right. And you create a broadcast.
Yeah, that got me. That's all I need. Now I know that was the one little piece I was missing. How do I create a broadcast without creating a real broadcast?
Exactly. And then it said, now the private chat works. So if you wanted to, like we're here, we've got private chat. So we've still got our private chat. And if anybody has a mobile phone or an iPad, which Richard has because he doesn't have a phone, they just have to load up the screen and have it on silent. And they've got the live comments on their other phone, on their iPad. Or
let me ask you, how do you stream out to just on your using your Streamlabs? How do you stream out to Facebook, and do you use Mob Crush?
No, that's what I was saying to you. You need to have a look at restream.io. I don't actually do it, but I know that it works in conjunction with Streamlabs.
Yeah, I've had it before and I can do it. I just thought because Mob Crush is built in.
Yeah, well, we can talk to Tog. Tog knows how to use restream.io. He uses it over and included with OBS. Yeah. But he uses the original OBS over Streamlabs.
One of my misunderstandings about that thing, the restreams, was, some things they won't let you stream to an account. They'll let you stream to a page. Now, I said already I erroneously built up my account. I got a really big account with friends, but I don't have a very large page. And that was a mistake.
Yeah, I created a page as well, and I called it some stupid fucking name, which I will not even mention, but it's a cross between some Egyptian. Oh, no, I'll send it to you, man. But there's the only person that subscribed to it is my mother, because she asked me what I was doing one day when she was standing over my shoulder, and I was like, I'm doing this, and she liked it. I've got one person on my page. And it's an old Egyptian god who is goddess, who is the goddess of scripture, knowledge, and herbs. If I can remember that correctly, which pretty much sums up, I like that.
Okay.
But, nobody's on your page. As you say, your account on your page is different.
So if you don't mind, I don't mean to change the subject real quick. Richard, I've kind of popped in or just got tiny little glances of the little program you and Mathpig have going on. Can you give me a quickie about what you are about? Do you mind just a quickie?
Almost impossible. I'll give it a try.
Okay.
I'm just going to say, right, everybody get ready for the Richard face, as me and Sammy refer to it. Because when Richard talks if he talks 6 minutes, about 4.5 minutes into it, Chris will do this thing with his face, and that's what's known as the Richard face.
It's the face of considering things in a new way. That's the face.
That's
okay.
A real nice
That's
way.
your take on it. I understand. I get that. That's fabulous.
Me and Sammy call it the what the fuck did Richard just say, Phil?
Something like that. I'm an absolute weirdo. Okay, like that. That was it. So being an anti-theist and not wanting the spiritual texts to have value, I was introduced through, I know this sounds absolutely like some kind of drug trip, through a waking dream to a perspective that works universally. And by that, I mean it resolves all contextual conflicts in all religions, making them one.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the short of it.
We call it a stroke in the medical field. Sorry.
Yeah, a stroke. Yeah. Essentially a stroke that works really well and shouldn't work that well.
Probably so. Mathpig will get on to me. Personal attack. Being aggressive.
You can't hurt my feelings, man. I can let someone hurt my feelings, but you can't do it.
Oh no, it's all play. I'm all play.
Yeah, it's all good.
Okay. So you're not an antitheist anymore? Are you? Is that what you're saying? You're no longer an antitheist?
I'm now almost 52. When I was 42, I was an anti-theist.
I understand. Okay.
So I'm a newbie. I'm a baby.
I see. Cool. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I've been catching, like I said, the glimpses of the Enoch program.
Well, Enoch is interesting because we're doing it off the cuff with this view that I've accepted. But it works for a lot more than just Enoch.
Right. I got you. I understand. And I don't even have the full concept of what it is. I'll have to catch up whenever I get.
I'm not sure I do.
Good. Well, I do Bible series as well. I do videos. I got several series on videos. I also do the Atheist Morning Show. It's 1 hour now. I'd like to get it to be 2 hours. That'd probably work better for Mathpig, wouldn't it, Mathpig, if it was longer?
No, you just need to start it at 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. What's that in real people time, though?
An hour later than what you usually do.
See, so in other words, I'm saying if I went 2 hours, that would be perfect for him.
That'd be perfect, yeah. And saying that, no, I'd be up. Well, like if you're going to start at 1, I could be in about 1:30. I may be a little bit late.
I understand. No worries. Yeah.
Nobody wants to see me, like I'm a potato now, but I would be I'm very dirty. You don't want to see me after work. Gotcha. Hello, Victor. Welcome back.
Hello,
hey.
Victor.
I don't have that much longer, but I thought I'd give you something to swing at for a while.
I'm gonna be nice. I'm
Here, anything that happens here, it's his channel, so it's his fault now. All right, I did my bit. No.
We're not.
Come back to
Mathpig. All right. He decides good and evil for himself, so it's really just subjective, right?
That's subjective. That's right. But see, Mathpig is this is Mathpig's stream. Don't blame me. I'm gonna sit. I'm sitting right here.
I didn't want to leave Richard here as the only weirdo of the group, so here we are.
Quit that, Mathpig. That's crazy looking stuff, man. Thank you, Victor.
No,
crazy looking yet somewhat erotic.
You're distracting him, Mathpig.
I'm a potato.
Hey guys, seriously though, y'all talk amongst yourselves. I've got to go do a thing. So Victor, if you leave, you said you didn't have long before I get back. It's nice meeting you, man. Sorry for being a jerk. It's nice meeting you.
That's all right.
But maybe I'll be back. I'm just going down there, so I'll be back, man. Bye.
Okay. Welcome back, Victor. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Have you anything you would like to add from missing your stream the last time, or anything you'd like to point out? Stop laughing at me, Richard. I can't help you now.
No,
you just have the cutest voice, man. I can't help it.
Potato %.
I think, I really am looking forward to talking to Richard a lot more, but I think, only a certain level of depth can be approached in a live stream because it's just, it's personal stuff between the two of us that needs to be talked about that, that we could just hash out all messily and sloppily that nobody else could understand. But I will mention, I think it's very interesting the dichotomy between the view that you've adopted, which is to merge the religions of the world together, and the perception that I have of the Bible, which is that that's actually the worst thing that could possibly happen and will lead to the end of the world.
Would lead to the end of the world. That's an interesting thing.
Well, wouldn't necessarily lead to it, but it's one of the
signs of end times.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm aware. That's why I call my channel Demolished Doctrine.
Yeah, so it's an interesting dichotomy there.
Why?
But, I mean, well, because, you know, on one hand, some of your understanding comes from the Bible, but then there at the end of the Bible, it kind of shows, you know, a completely so you're almost forced to be opposed to the God of the Bible while also using some of his word to implement your belief.
Nope,
Otherwise,
not at all.
Well, what's your perception of the Antichrist who creates a one world religion and a one world government?
Sure. Well, if you don't mind me backing up just a hair, how many gods are there for us?
One.
One, right. Now, if there's one, then that one is the God over the whole earth, not parts thereof.
Well,
so if he chose to only tell the Jews the truth, then I don't think he's trying to fill heaven.
Well, that's not what he says he's trying to do. So it's.
What does he say he's trying to do?
He's going to eventually, the end goal is to destroy sin and evil and create and make the whole world good again.
Fair enough. We can nitpick over parts of that later. If it's true that God is benevolent, I can't see any reason other than how we feel about things and pride in our own tribe and misunderstanding of other cultures, why God would only select. I mean, you know this challenge, right? Well, how do you know your religion's the right one?
Mm-hmm.
You've heard that, of course.
Yeah.
And it's a malformed question, but it's not without a point. But they're taking advantage of a Christian's pride in their own understanding of their own text when they say that. So actually, it's a logical fallacy. It's an emotional plea. So I don't see, first of all, requirement for that. It doesn't logically follow that God saying, "I would that all be saved," would only tell one group the truth. But it does make sense to me that different cultures have different idea systems and would need the same exact story told in a different way. That makes sense to me.
Well, there's the problem that I see with that is that's what I was a universalist for about a decade. You know, I believe that very same thing. You know.
Okay.
But the reason why, if somebody asked me why do I believe that my religion is the true one, is because the Bible contains an explanation for everything else in the world, and the other religions have no answer for mine.
The other religions what?
They have no answer for mine. They have no way of explaining to people that are within their religion why mine exists and, you know, who my God actually is. You know, there's no way for them to reconcile that. They have to come up with that for themselves.
Do you know that Islam says the Bible is a true work of God?
Well, yeah.
Okay, so there's one example.
Well, it doesn't. But at the same time, the characteristics of their God are completely contradictory to the characteristics of the God in the Bible.
But okay, in your opinion and in your culture, you're right.
And it's really just the Muslim religion is really like a conglomeration of Judaism and Christianity. It's kind of like a falsification of both, and never really decides which one it would like to plagiarize the most.
Are there different Christian denominations that claim different things about God and different things about the Bible?
Yes.
Of course, right?
Yeah.
So that's their perspective on the same book. But
yes,
Christians will hold on. But Christians will simultaneously claim that they fully understand religions they've never studied.
Well, to the extent that they need to be understood, which is, you know, they're where they come from and that they're false.
But they're looking at it from their point of view and only their point of view, claiming that they have full understanding.
That's true. Well,
Okay, well, that's not fair.
well, what do you mean by fair? I mean, fair to.
Okay, it's not honest. It can't be accurate.
Well, first of all, like there's a big misunderstanding about the way that you perceive that God delivered the truth to the world. He didn't. His intention wasn't just to give it to Israel. The point of Israel was to bring about the Messiah. And when Jesus actually died, the reason why what he was doing while he was dead for 3 days, it says he was contending for the souls who are trapped in prison. So he didn't actually cheat anybody. Everybody who was not of Israel had a chance before that, or at that point, everybody who was dead at that point had an opportunity to be preached to directly by the Spirit of God. And everybody after that now has the opportunity as well.
I agree. After all, we have the internet.
Well, that, and it really just, I mean, I personally had the opportunity to pick all kinds of different religions, and all of them seemed, to be incoherent. The way of the world seemed to be incoherent, and really, like, the only reason that I'm a Christian is because, like, I didn't first notice the goodness of Christianity. The first thing I noticed was the absolute absence of goodness without it. Like, all of the things that we value to be good are really a result of, a lot of greed or pride, ego, deception.
So you were born into the Americas, yes?
Yes.
The United States specifically, yes?
Yes.
Why would you expect that you would understand some other culture and some other religion that they assign value to? Why would you understand that?
Well, I mean, when I said that, I wasn't referring to the religions. I was referring to what breeds success and happiness in the world.
What I'm talking about is you said that what you saw was an absence of truth in other religions. I'm asking how you judged that.
I said an absence of truth and goodness without Christianity, meaning
right. How did you judge that
in the world? Well, by looking at, look at the most famous people that everybody admires. Most of them are degenerates, and I knew that before I was a Christian. Look at the popular the people with all the power. Most of them are objectively evil. You know what I mean? So, like, looking around, you see that everybody's lying to you. Even when they're trying to tell you the truth, they're usually mistaken. Most of the scientific truths wind up being proven, some better theory proven tomorrow. People that tell you they love you are mistaken and run away a few years later. Even people with the best of intentions are still without truth.
Okay, so in saying all that, you're saying that Christianity is the only expression on the planet that has societal and moral values that are true to reality. Is that the idea?
Well, that wasn't really what I was getting at, but that's true.
Well, what did I miss?
Well, the real point of all of it was I decided that I wanted to find something that I would know to be true, some solid ground to stand on, to work from there, to try to see the world through, Okay. And Jesus claims to be the truth, and so when I realized that there's a lot of claims that he makes that go contradictory to even his culture at the time. He claims to be the truth. He claims to have done all these miracles, and he's obviously pretty famous. I decided that I should take a closer look at him. And by doing.
Wait a minute. If it's based on societal values of the idea system, and you want to go with a majority vote, you should be following the Yellow Emperor.
Where did the majority vote come in?
You said he was a big deal at the time,
No, I said he was. He was a big deal. He's famous. Everybody.
Famous.
knows about
That's what I
him.
said. That's a majority.
It was just what drew my attention to him. It wasn't that had nothing to do with that was where I said, okay, I got to actually take a close look at this for myself, because I'm not going to trust people who tell me.
So what I'm trying to establish is why you didn't study the Yellow Emperor.
Oh, I don't know. Well, probably because I've never heard of him.
Well, he was in China.
I got lucky in that regard, I guess.
He positively affected many more individual human beings than Christ. Okay, he was well accepted, and they still quote him today for wisdom.
Jesus wasn't well accepted, and did the Yellow Emperor claim to have power over life and death?
No, I'm not talking about any claims. That's not what you'd refer to.
Well, I mean, if he himself doesn't even claim to be able to do anything for me, why would I worship him?
In applicable wisdom, profound stuff. Seriously.
Well, most of the stuff that
like stuff that
whenever
really would
look
help you
at,
on a daily basis.
Can I ask if I may ask real quick? On the what'd you call him? The Golden Emperor?
Yes, sir. The Yellow Emperor.
The Yellow Emperor. Forgive me. Is that it's not secret knowledge though, is it? It's being nice to one another kind of stuff.
Well, it's real applicable daily life wisdom stuff.
Gotcha. Okay.
Let me look him up real quick and see some of his things. I'm curious, but yeah, I mean, a lot of people can derive some wisdom from the world, and it gets passed around, a lot. But Jesus actually claimed to be able to transcend life and death, and if that's true, that's a pretty valuable thing.
Sure, it would be.
Knowing whether that's true or not seemed pretty important to me.
But you don't believe that based in your. Which way does it go? You believe in Christ because he claims that, or you believe that claim because it's Christ?
No, I thought, well, if I want to know what's true, my priority should be the most important issues. I don't really care if red velvet cake is the best kind of cake. I want to start with something actually important, and if I eliminate that, then fine. Then I'll move on and find the next best thing. But the best offer seemed to be that, so that's what I looked into, as a grounding for all truth.
It's definitely the larger claim. I'm not saying it isn't, but I'm trying to figure out if you believe in the miracles because they come from Christ, or do you believe in Christ because he did miracles?
Oh, that's an interesting thing. Never thought of
it. I mean, the miracles really aren't, aside from raising himself from the dead, I guess,
Okay.
See, there's a bit of a logical problem there. I mean, is God right in morality because he's God, or is there a moral standard that's outside of God that God is just telling us about? Which
that's where faith comes in. It's like you don't believe in either. No, you don't believe in either one at first. You just have enough curiosity and enough faith to start to investigate it.
Okay, so am I wrong in saying that?
I didn't believe in either one at first.
Sorry. Am I wrong in saying that faith is due to a development of trust in a relationship? Is that fair?
Faith is simply trust. Faith can exist on a scale.
Okay, but where does faith come from? How does a person develop faith?
It's a gift. It's something that you accept, as long as you don't fight it, you'll develop it.
But how does it develop? I mean, I know it's natural, but geez, man.
It's like you said, you just like with any relationship, it starts with a little bit of trust. You trust somebody with your phone number, and then you trust to meet them in public, and then you trust to bring them to your home and show them where you live and make yourself vulnerable, and you know what I mean? It develops just like that with Jesus as with anybody else.
And the next thing you know, you're taking showers together in the wee hours of the morning. But anyway,
I do shower with Jesus. That's true. I take him everywhere.
This is no time for romance.
That was a quote from Hamburger Hill. But anyway, that's Clint Eastwood. Okay, so what I'm trying to establish is how a person comes to faith without relationship seems impossible. But
Well,
then it
it's
seems you
because-
couldn't have a relationship without the faith.
You couldn't have a relationship without the faith, but it's
Right.
But faith isn't like blam. Here's this faith. Now it's in your lap, and you have it and strap it on like a backpack. It starts
Right.
just like any person you might meet on the street. You don't have
Sure.
faith in them, and then they smile at you, and you get an inkling that maybe they're a decent person, and so you strike up a conversation. That's a very little amount of faith that you're
Right.
giving them, granting them the amount of trust that they won't wait till you turn around and hit you in the head with a roll of nickels or a sack of pennies
Sure.
or whatever. So it's described as a relationship, and it's formed just like any other relationship.
I believe you're right. I believe
Yeah.
you're right. So in order to start that relationship, you'd have to have some belief in the system in the first place. I'm trying to establish how you got to that belief.
I don't think it. I know, as a matter of fact, I didn't have any belief in the first place. I thought Jesus was just a collection of good morals, and I didn't even believe he existed, or
How did that
know or
change?
care that he existed.
Have you studied things like the veracity of the Sermon on the Mount and things like that? I'm just curious how much study you've put into those things. I don't mean that as an attack. I
I have. I know that people call it into question and everything, but most of the people who spend their time, let me say, nitpicking that, are people who have a misunderstanding of what inspiration means and think that Christians take the Bible as a magical relic, and it's just it's a misunderstanding. It's also reinforced by some Christians too, but I think it's perfectly okay for a Christian to be completely ignorant of all Scripture and believe in Jesus Christ anyway. I think that's perfectly acceptable to God. It won't stand up in a debate.
Oh no, yeah, I understand. No, I understand. Carry on, Richard and
Chris, I have to ask you what you meant by veracity in the Sermon on the Mount. What do you mean by veracity?
I meant the veracity of its legitimacy. That's what I meant. I'm not.
As historical accuracy, you mean?
As in,
Oh, okay.
Originally it wasn't in the book, and then 300 AD magically it appears in the book. That kind of thing. So carry on. That's what I meant. I just was curious. With somebody with his intellect and his knowledge of the Bible, I was curious how much he had researched into actual, things like that. If it appeared later and wasn't in the original text, such as, if not all of that Sermon on the Mount, then what good was Jesus ever teaching? If we can actually prove that wasn't in the original text, and some man just threw that in there later, then where's any of the
I'd like to throw out an idea to you on that.
If you don't mind, yeah.
If I describe to a Christian that some person was alive and that they told the truth of God and they were fully trusted by God as to whether or not a man's spirit should go to heaven or hell, and they caused a lot of trouble and were killed and were dead 3.5 days and then were raised from the dead, and then for a short time more told the truth about God, then I'm obviously describing who?
Well, obviously, I guess that would be Jesus.
Right.
Yeah.
It's also the description of the two witnesses in the book of Revelation. That is, I'm saying that the two witnesses at the end of the earth are the Christ.
That's wonderful. Yeah, okay. I see where you're going. That's great.
So it hasn't happened yet. I expect to see no evidence.
Yeah, I get sometimes you see just different perspectives of things. I had never considered that perspective. That's wonderful.
I hadn't either till 2012, but
And welcome to Richard's world.
Yeah,
No, that's
there was
great.
the Richard face. It took a wee bit longer, but it happened. It happened.
Nothing else. I mean, it's fascinating stuff.
Timestamp.
I'm still not sure what side. I don't understand what this guy's secret handshake is. I still don't get what he really I don't know yet, but he's fascinating to listen to. No offense,
If you're willing to work with me, I'm willing to work with you on that.
on which part?
All of
Understanding
it.
you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
More
yeah.
than that, I want to come to understand you.
Oh, I see. That's beautiful. Actually, I just became a part of this community. So all of you. That's why I try not to be a jerk to Victor. I have no idea what this place is.
These folks are smart, interesting folks.
Smarter than they look. They'd almost have to.
We're a bunch of weirdos.
Yeah.
You don't even
Certainly.
know what I look
Of absolute
Don't let
Mathpig
the hat
definitely
fool you.
smarter than he looks. Definitely.
like. Chris, I'm curious to know why you believe that the Sermon on the Mount was added in 300 AD.
No. See, and that's why I was kind of really just a glancing blow. I'm not really sure exactly that. The question was really more about whether you've investigated when the books were written, who the books were written by, etc.,
Oh, yeah.
than it was trying for me to be specific about the Sermon on the Mount. That was just an example. Sorry. And even the year was just kind of an example. I was just trying to give an example so you'd understand.
Okay, well, we're clear that you know that it wasn't added in 300 AD, right?
And
That it's
Mathpig-
actually in the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Mathpig is stalking me in Discord, so it's kind of
Not
you're just
talking in
distracting.
Discord, I'm trying to help you out secretly and quietly in the background. Same as I
Just
do
so
with
that people listening don't actually think that's true, it was in the Dead Sea Scrolls. It is in the Dead Sea Scrolls.
I just try to help everybody and be a pincushion. Everybody likes to shoot me and poke me and make fun of me.
We love you, Math.
Yeah, I know, but I can
Hey.
take it. And at the end of the day, everybody needs to grow a thicker skin. I just happen to have the thickest skin out there.
Hey,
I think-
Victor, would you please finish that thought that you just had? You said it's in the Dead Sea Scrolls, but
Please.
there may be part of the listening audience who don't know why that's important.
Oh, because the Dead Sea Scrolls was the earliest manuscript at the time that they found that verified a lot of the parts of the Bible that people had called into question. It verified that the canon that we have is very accurate, even though people accused the Catholic Church of composing it, and it answered a lot of questions for critics of the accuracy or the date of the words in a lot of the Bible.
Thank you.
Okay, if you don't mind, real quick, let me do this. Sorry, it's got the Victor up there. I just want everybody to know that please, if you don't mind, go check Victor as a demonstration of my ignorance. Do you have a channel?
Nothing to speak of, man. I've got
Discord. He's good on Discord.
His Discord. Then if you can go find his Discord if he wants to. I'm trying to give you a shout out, brother. I just don't know if you.
I'll send him your link, man.
I'm adverse to fame. I'm here because I care about you guys.
Oh, okay. Well then, anyway, like Victor, he's cool. Don't forget to subscribe to the Demolition Doctrine. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get a lot of things going on. I'm trying to give everybody their thing. And Hogfather.
Flash of
It's-
fucking Richard and Sylvester Stallone.
It's demolish_doctrine.
Demolish under. What did I say?
Never mind. Let's not repeat
Richard.
it. That'll just be confusing.
I'm sorry. Yes, Richard to Richard. L. Richard to L. Richard. Don't forget to subscribe to his channel, Sammy Jenkins. You got a thing? Do you have a thing at the place with the stuff?
There's a thing in the
Yes, I have a very small channel, Watchtower Watches.
That's right. They even told me that very specifically. They're like, Chris, this guy has got a channel. It's called this. And I just totally spaced it. I'm sorry. I'm a bad man. Anyway, so don't forget to go sub to his channel, that guy down there. And Victor, you don't have a channel, brother, but if you did, I would give us, because I have people who are of the faith who watch my stuff in my morning show, and I have no problem sending them to you.
I don't make.
You're not a person like that. I get you. I'm sorry. I'm not
I
trying
don't make content really. I've got like two useful videos on my channel, and I think they're each like 30 seconds long.
Well, not that I agree with what you say. I mean, no offense. We agree that we disagree. It's just that you present very well. I think you would make a very great content creator. You're very well spoken. You got some great stuff, dude. Oh yeah.
I used to want to be famous, but I got over it.
It's less about fame. Well, maybe it is about fame. I guess maybe that's it. I don't know.
It's
Maybe
about getting your point across and actually being heard. And at the end of the day, as I said to Chris the other day when we were off stream, there's the whole Christian demographic. There's the whole small atheist demographic. There's everybody's little demographics. And if we can try and build a community where every demographic is included, we become a demographic on our own. We are fully representative, and it's the only way to actually change the world. It's hard for one man to do it, but one group of people together, we're stronger than what we are alone.
Yeah. It's just hard not to argue. I can be a jerk.
Oh, no, it's fun to argue, man. Why surround yourself with people who agree with you?
But remember, Mathpig, even if it's my channel, you are perfect. I welcome you going, hey, too aggressive. Because just do that. I'm okay with that.
Oh, no, this is your channel.
No, you're welcome to moderate. What's the worst that would happen? I'd say screw you and bounce you from the channel.
Yeah, I can't moderate myself on my own channel. That's why I don't go live by myself. I always make sure there's someone else there.
Anyway, so if you guys are watching, don't forget to go subscribe to these other guys who have content and create stuff, and don't subscribe to Victor. I'm just kidding.
Hey, Victor, I wanted to say I thought I heard children in the background. That makes me inclined to believe you're a dad, so I wanted to say thanks for your dad work.
Oh, yes. I do my best. He would disagree with you.
Well, the child will.
As they would. That's their job. Yeah. So thanks for that. Let me see. Let me check the chat real quick. Is there anything going on? I'm not paying attention. Y'all carry on with your fight. I'll be back. Or your discussion. It's a discussion.
Well,
Are you? That didn't scare me at all.
Excuse me. Sorry.
I think
I think a lot of people get the conception that you become a Christian, someone hits you on the head with a magic wand, and then you're expected to carry yourself in a certain way. You're expected to trust God 100%. You know, like Indiana Jones walking off the ledge, trying to get to the other side. And that's not what's expected of anybody, and it's not possible. It's just not possible to do that.
Yeah.
It's one moment you take his hand and you take one step at a time, and as cautiously as you want to be, and when you do the hard work and you answer the hard questions that you have in your own mind first. And I think a lot of people are afraid to do that because they think either it's insulting to God to ask the question, or it would ruin their faith if they found the answer. And the exact opposite is true.
Yeah,
I often say people don't want to know the answer. They don't want to know the truth if it's different than what they believe.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so oftentimes atheists are asked, and you've probably even asked the question, what would it take to change our mind? Have you heard that? Have you asked?
I have, but I think that's a terrible question.
What would it take? I mean, and then of course our deal is obviously evidence and blah blah blah. We get into this whole thing.
No one's ever going to tell you the truth.
Right. Well, that's true, but even then, you couldn't provide that. Right. They're gonna set the bar so high, it's gonna be ridiculous, right? So, but rarely do I hear the other question because it almost seems rude. But what would it take to change your mind? What kind of evidence would be required?
At this point, I'll be honest.
Example, you believe that Jesus Christ was mentioned, the Sermon on the Mount was mentioned in the Dead Sea Scrolls. If what Old Man Dan says here is true, then that's incorrect. And if then that's incorrect,
Dan doesn't lie. That's a fact. Man doesn't lie.
We're just playing on ifs. If that's correct, what does that mean? Or does that mean anything? It may not mean anything. I don't know. Some people have the ability to just blow off any type of evidence.
I don't see what Dan said.
Oh, you don't? It's on the screen. It says, nowhere in the Dead Sea Scrolls was the name of Jesus mentioned, and Christianity had no support in the translations. The Dead Sea Scrolls challenged the two most fundamental beliefs of Christianity. So if that's true, and there were no Sermon on the Mount there, and it really was injected later, the earliest evidence for, like the earliest versions don't mention it at all, and it appears later, then what does that do to your belief?
Well, if you look at the complete book of Matthew, it doesn't say, the Sermon on the Mount doesn't mention Jesus' name either. But the fact that all of these writings are together, compiled with the rest of the writings, which are clearly about Jesus.
Right. Didn't Jesus give the Sermon on the Mount?
Pretty logical. Yeah, it's pretty logical to say that this is part of the Bible, which is about Jesus. The Old Testament's about him too, and parts of that were in the Dead Sea Scrolls too. And the New Testament, the whole thing's about him. So I mean, there's no other person that it would be about. They didn't find along with the Dead Sea Scrolls, they didn't find biographies of Plato or Lao Tzu, or it's clearly about Jesus. So I don't have. He can use that to create doubt in his own mind, but that's never going to put doubt in my mind.
No, and see, that was kind of the question. Pardon me, I hate it when people throw ifs around. But if this were true, if it's true, now you managed to, and I've seen other Christians do that. They're like, oh, Jesus was mentioned in the Old Testament. Jesus is never mentioned in the Old Testament. I would argue that all day. We can go scripture. No. He's never mentioned. We can do that all day. Emmanuel, you want to do the Emmanuel thing? That's just not going to happen. Jesus was not mentioned in the Old Testament.
Not by name, no.
Aggressive. No, he wasn't. And why not? If God knows the front to the back,
because
the beginning,
why did Jesus speak in parables?
And wait, even in the Old Testament, they claim they did mention his name and they cried out Emmanuel, but it wasn't his real name. Well, why? If God really was going to cry out his name, why not cry out Jesus?
It says he shall be called Emmanuel. That's
which
title.
Means, and now we're going right. Now we're going to
title. You could be called. What would you be called? The Daily Atheist, right?
Yeah.
So most people would call you that.
Well, and what did Emmanuel mean? Go ahead for the people who don't know.
God with us. Okay. So, and
who calls him that? Nobody calls him that. He's never ever referred. No. Jesus is never referred to as Emmanuel in the New Testament.
No, he's not referred to.
So go ahead and
Emmanuel.
you can. Why not? If that's the case in the Old Testament, they said this is going to happen. Why don't they go around in the New Testament going Emmanuel? Come on, bro.
Because he's called that in so many other ways.
No. Why not be plain? Let's be plain. This is the perfect word of God.
Why did Jesus speak in parables? This is the same reason why they didn't say, hey, look out for this guy named Jesus. It's the same reason why Jesus speaks in parables, because you of your own free will should be allowed to either reject him or accept him. And if he came up to you and turned your, did every miracle that you would want him to do, one after the other, to prove himself to you, then that would destroy your ability to decide for yourself.
Carry on there, Richard. Go ahead, Richard.
There'd be no purpose in us being on this planet, having this experience, learning empathy for others and brotherhood, sisterhood, friendship, if we were all just sitting around looking at our watch going, well, God's a real thing. I'm just waiting for him to get back.
So it was softcore porn. It was softcore porn. Sorry.
Instead, what the text says is there are things that are hidden, the hidden manna, the meat of the word, these expressions, to say that these things are reserved for a certain time when all will be revealed, in which case it'll be obvious to everybody.
Yes.
And no decision has to be made till then, which is why grace.
Okay, so Future Talk. I missed the Future Talk part. Sorry, I'm going to have to catch up with you on the Future Talk. The Past Talk part with the Old Testament, again, nowhere in there. You can shoehorn. A lot of times they'll say things like, he bears the stripes, and therefore that he fulfills the prophecy. But when you go look at what the prophecy was, the person who had the stripes was actually like a thief or something who did say, it has nothing to do with any example whatever is going on over here, but people shoehorned it into the prophecy. And
it's worse than that. If you took all the splinters on all the altars of all the Catholic churches around the earth that are supposed to be out of Christ's crucifix, it'd be 200 feet tall.
Right. That's true. That's true. So Old Testament, New Testament, Jesus is. That's kind of where I'm going. But the question was, what would it take if evidence such as thus was provided?
I'll tell you, if it were impossible in physics for Jupiter to be ignited by the two moons outside of it, Io and Europa, via electrical discharge, I would stop believing in God. There you go. There's one. I got about 1,000 of them.
I'll be honest with you and just tell you at this point in my life, it would be impossible, I think.
See,
I
yeah.
don't think there's anything you could do at this point to change my mind.
And I feel you, and I'm not trying to condemn that at all. I'm just kind of saying we all have our own nutbaggery, our own crazy, and what we believe, and it'd be very, very hard for somebody to dislodge us from that. And not that yours is right or wrong; it's just different than mine. And Richard, his is different. I'm just now learning he's got some different kind of thinking. I'm maybe newly exposed to. Interesting stuff. It's not right or wrong. It's just different.
But
And
let
we
me
are as dedicated to it.
add that there were many things along my journey that could have, but now that I've put my doubts to rest through my investigation and through talking to other people, debating, seeing other people debate, at this point I couldn't imagine a thing that you could do that could prove that God doesn't exist to me and that Jesus isn't his son.
Well, yeah, okay.
The big problem that I have is that apologetics exist.
Well,
like, why should they have to exist? Well, they exist for the apparent conflicts within the scriptures as described by Christian doctrinal view. That's why apologetics exist.
So there's a good question.
I don't know how you're going to say no to that.
Paul was an apologist. He went around
there's a difference between apologizing for conflicts and explaining a base idea.
Apologism isn't
a big
apologizing. It's a similar word. Apologizing.
No, I'm not conflating two words. I'm taking it very literally.
You're offering an explanation for
what did I mean by apologizing?
You said apologizing for contradictions in Scripture or something.
Right. Go look at what William Lane Craig does. That's apologizing for conflicts. And go look at Frank Turek, what he does.
What he does is harmonizes what's in the Scripture with people's
You're just using different words to say the same thing, dude.
Contradictions within Scripture are totally different than explaining people's misunderstandings when relating it to the outside world and other religions and other philosophies. That's what apology is for.
Okay, I have something. Now, this is not for you, Victor, because you have stopped your search. But this is for anybody else who watches. This is a very interesting website. I just noticed that he was talking about contradictions.
You're going to do Biblivids. You are.
Oh, I love this one.
It's visually beautiful.
It's
a beautiful website.
So if you're now
amazing.
People like Victor who are convinced and he said he's researched and he's done, then this is no interest of him. But other people who want to see how fallible,
answer those though.
I'm sure you can, and you're welcome to. But I've seen how you answer just the ones this evening, and it's a lot of.
I haven't answered your questions to your satisfaction.
Nice, Chris. No, not from the very beginning.
Then?
Huh?
Why didn't you press me then?
Because Mathpig told me not.
I said, you already corrected yourself. The first question you asked me, you corrected yourself and said that I answered it. But what?
You were wrong. From the very beginning, you were wrong. I popped on my headset and you were wrong, and you haven't been right since. I mean,
I think you're being disingenuous, man. I don't think you would let me go if you could prove that I was wrong and it wasn't your opinion that I was wrong.
But you can't see it, and that's kind of where I was going a minute ago. You got yours and I got mine, and I can't see yours. And you can't.
That's just a scapegoat, man. You would try to prove me wrong if you had some
I literally proved you wrong. Go back and watch Matt's thing, and you can see it. You said X, and I'm like, dude, that's wrong.
You said that, and then I correct. You said that. You
correct me, but you said just the same freaking thing you said the first time, and it was no different.
God said that they would die if they ate of the tree, and you tried to make some issue about the being able to choose right from wrong.
No,
and that was somehow correct because Satan didn't lie to them. That was your first comment.
No,
you didn't actually lie to Adam and Eve.
You said the serpent lied to them. That's what we were talking about. The serpent lied to him. The serpent. Whatever.
Satan is the deceiver. Jesus calls Peter Satan. It's a title for somebody who's doing the work of Lucifer.
Understand?
Actually called him son of Satan. He didn't call him Satan.
He said, "Get thee behind me, Satan."
Brother, it doesn't matter. They could go get the scripture where it says literally son of Satan, and the way the night is gone, it wouldn't matter to you. You would still maintain that it said Satan. That's what I'm saying. But that's cool. I'm not trying to be a jerk. Mathpig doesn't want me to be a
I don't
jerk.
think you're trying to be a jerk, but if you're going to just lie,
No, be your honest self. This is your channel, Chris. You know, this is your channel.
Right.
I'm Switzerland. You can be Germany, or you can be Venezuela. You can be South Africa. You can be whatever country you want. But no, this is your channel. You do what you want. Victor knows that he'll probably never come on your channel again. I just hope that he's safe to know that he's welcome on mine. I'm only jesting.
Matthew 16:23. Jesus turned to Peter and said, "Get behind me, Satan."
There you go.
The NIV, Jesus turned to Peter and said, "Get away from me, Satan." English Standard Version, but he turned to Peter and said, "Get behind me, Satan."
So Peter was Satan. See, now
Peter was acting.
Not actually.
Peter,
I'm just being facetious.
He's not calling him Satan. He's saying he's just saying you're putting out a satanic idea.
He's doing Satan's work.
I understand. I was just being facetious.
Well,
but it really didn't matter. That was kind of the point. Is that
it does matter when you say, well, this question isn't for the one guy who could answer all these contradictions. I'm just going to point out all these seeming contradictions that atheists have put together in their website and try to confuse people.
Okay.
You found any challenging?
When the fact is that when you look at a lot of those contradictions, they're just failures to investigate Scripture.
No, do you think all of them are like that, or most of them?
And don't you see oftentimes people will just make things up? They'll be like, this scripture means this. And I'm like, how do you think it means that? I mean, these contradictions are literal. At one point it says in the Bible, and I'm using this as an example, it says, no one will see the face of God. At the other time it says several people have seen the face of God. That's a contradiction. And somebody will go, and then they'll come in and they'll go, well, what they meant was nobody will literally see the face of God. They see it in their. Well, now they're equivocating, and now they're not. They're making things up that aren't in the text. And that's what you will do whenever you get to doing these subscriptions. Whenever you go, all right, let me rephrase that because I don't want to be a jerk any more than I have to be. And that's whenever you say you'll defeat these contradictions. I believe that's the same thing that will be happening. Go ahead, guys. I'm gonna let y'all see. The deal is on my channel, like I said earlier, whenever we were on Mathpig's channel, normally I don't bring people to my channel to argue with them, and that's not my purpose. So I'm gonna try to let you guys do your thing. My channel.
Wait. First,
y'all go ahead.
You're not sharpshooting people. You're putting out challenges. That's
right.
Good.
But I'm aggressive about it, and that's why I know I'm not a good debater. I'm overly aggressive.
At the end of the day, Chris, right? I don't mean to take over your channel, but at the end of the day, the only way you're going to get better at having conversations without being an asshole is to have conversations.
Right.
Yeah, I'm generally blunt and fuck people off and have no in real life friends, and that's why I have lots of friends online. I've learned.
Well, you've got your bag though, and I've got my thing. My thing is X, and Brother Victor, his thing is X, and Richard, his thing is X, and you're, as they've said, more like a Switzerland. And now you, in Switzerland, you're trying to bring all these X's together, and you're kind of going, oh, they're not going to fight. Everybody loves each other. They're going to be happy. No, we're going to.
Oh no, I don't want everybody to love each other. I'm under the false conclusion that I'm going to get everyone on, interview them. And then in and around August, when it becomes my birthday, I'm going to lay a nuclear bomb and everyone start bringing out debates, start people against each other. It's going to be hilarious. It's it's going to be like, what do you call that new movie out, or that movie out? Your girl with a bow and arrow, fucking the game, Hunger Games. Hunger Games, yeah.
Well, pencil me in for some of that, Mathpig. I'm there. I'd love to participate in that.
And as Victor was saying, I find it very fascinating about the let me do the stop sharing here thing for the BibViz. So that's BibViz for anybody. Yeah, I think it's very interesting on different Christians' takes on Satan and the serpent. Now, in my video, I do a series of videos, Victor, called The Evil God Monster of Abraham, and it's a very pedantic, very, very brief. Just a short thing on the Bible, and in it, that I kind of explained X, Y, and Z, and I wanted to know about Christians and how they feel about those sorts of things.
Well, I personally think it's amusing when people try to exercise their idea of morality on God. I mean, I think that is a very moot point.
Right. See, I get that. That's interesting that you would. So God's morality is better than our morality.
God's morality is perfect.
Okay.
I mean, if we're going to talk inside this, if we're going to exist in this paradigm where God exists, he created the very concept of good and evil, for one thing. So
that would be true.
Whatever he says is good, and whatever he says is evil, is evil.
Okay. That's true. What if he doesn't exist?
If he doesn't exist, then what are you wagging your finger at?
Well, I mean about your morality. If he doesn't exist and he is just words on a page from some old sheep herders in the desert 2,000 years ago, and they were misogynistic, horrible people, then you're basing your perfect morality on this monster.
I'm not. I can't be. I don't think I can be like God.
Billions of people have been murdered.
Be like God. I don't think I can be like that. And who's really been murdered because of obeying God? Not people who said, I work for God, I'm going to do God's will. Who's been murdered because of obeying God?
That's kind of changing the topic.
That's
not what he said was people obeying God have murdered.
Who?
That's what he said. What do you mean who?
Me. He's asking who murdered. But then again, what do you mean who?
The Old Testament's full of it.
We have term called holy wars for a reason. Right? But you're saying people don't kill for God? See, we people who take stances like that, no matter what evidence you put at them, they're still going to have that kind of thing. You can't.
He's going to bicker the word murder. He's going to bicker the word murder.
That's exactly right. We're going to equivocate every little thing as to their motivation. God didn't tell them to do that. God talks murder, death, kill all through the Bible. All through the Bible, God is
according
just dripping
to Christians.
with blood.
Murder is us killing somebody else. God exercised judgment on fallen, half-bred human beings. He explained why.
I'm not talking about what God did. I'm talking about what people did in the name of God or for God or their opinion of God. If God's perfect,
God uses people to accomplish His will.
It's right because it's God, Chris.
That's that. Yeah.
It's right because it's God. It doesn't have to be moral or understandable.
That's right. More by our standards. That's right. But
kill these people. He explained that the reason why Israel was wandering through the desert, and the reason why he decided to pull them out of Egypt and send them wandering for so long is because he was waiting for the fullness of their sins and those in the Philistines and those half-breed Nephilim people, that they would be completely irredeemable. And the reason why you kill the men, women, and children is because they had cannibal tendencies, and that stuff gets passed into your DNA. They had Nephilim genes in them that gets passed on your DNA, and he wanted that judged off of the planet. So he uses Israel as not only as a tool for his judgment, but to fulfill the promise to give them a homeland.
And all of this comes from, as we wrote. I mean, what you said, we're talking about the writings of a bunch of men in the desert 2,000 years ago, and it's exactly what it sounds like. What if it's just made up?
Is
it okay to kill children?
Let's get right down to it.
Yeah, come on. Is it okay to kill children?
It's not okay for me to kill a child.
Why? If you deem them, if they're sinning in the eyes of the Lord says in His commandments to destroy the wicked. He says to destroy those who worship another god.
When God commands Israel to destroy all of those people, we're talking about people who are not fully human, and
all of them.
Who are burning all of them, who are burning their children alive, whose children are going to grow up to be just like them, and don't have human souls, according to God.
This sounds kind of like the Nazis and the Jews, doesn't it?
Because they're bred partially from demonic entities.
Huh. Fascinating.
If it's all just men wandering in the desert, then how do you know those people even died? What are you upset about?
I'm not talking about those people. Well, let's talk about the people in the desert. That's fine. Let's say if they
it's
didn't
all
die.
fiction.
I'm
Then
talking about
who actually died.
I'm talking
Yeah,
about
Amalekites, the Canaanites, the
If it's
Jebusites.
fiction, if it's fiction, then
No,
they
no, no,
didn't
no,
die,
no.
did they?
No,
Ooh, scapegoat.
the people in the Bible killed other people for their God,
Okay,
and they
okay.
wrote it down. You're missing the point. That
In
people
one,
killed
on one
for their God.
hand,
And-
okay, so they're wrong when they say that God commanded them to do it, but they're telling the truth when they say that they killed all these people.
No,
Could be
Is it
both.
moral for them to- Yeah, okay, sure. They're not mutually exclusive. Okay.
Could be that God never spoke to them and they really killed people. Could be both.
It could be that, when you look at like Abraham, Abraham probably had an STD and he was probably delusionary. His wife, he whored out his wife to the king of Egypt or the Pharaoh of Egypt, who gave him back saying, she gave my family a disease.
So you think a cult of Israelis wrote a book full of prophecies about a Messiah that they didn't recognize when he showed up?
Nope. Why are they prophecies if they don't recognize it when he shows up? It's not very, very well filling the prophecy.
Why did Jesus speak in parables?
Yeah, let's go back to that. Why did Jesus speak in parables? Because the people
To
around him
allow you to continue on your sin if you're determined to do it.
Why didn't he speak plainly? He's God.
He explained it to his apostles.
Then why make a book? If he's God and he doesn't want to interfere, don't make a book.
To give people the opportunity to accept the gift of
You're just saying something contrary of what you just said a few minutes ago.
Because if you're humble to God, then you will recognize that he's done this for you. If you're prideful and you want to continue on in your sin, then you're free to ignore it, just like the Pharisees did when they had God standing right in front of them. So let me finish. So you think that these Israeli people, just out of their own creativity and desire, created a book full of prophecies, one book after the other, prophecies about the Messiah.
No, I don't.
And then he shows up. No.
You started the sentence with "you think," and that's not right.
So you don't think this is all made up?
I think it's all made up. Carry on. Go ahead.
Okay, so they made it all up, full of things that appear to be prophecy to someone like me, and then a man comes along, fulfills these prophecies that are right under their nose in a book that they wrote and carried around for a couple thousand years almost, and they didn't plan it, but they also don't recognize the Messiah. Now his cult comes along and writes another book to create a person, even though none of the Jews or Israelis noticed that he was the Messiah. His cult members were also talented enough to write a fiction about a man who exists in all the prophecies of the Old Testament that nobody else recognized, but only they did, and he fits that model perfectly. You think that that's just like a man-made book by two separate cults working against each other that happens to come into harmony?
You said a whole bunch of things I don't believe.
I don't think
the Old Testament. No, listen. You let me speak. I let you speak. You said in the Old Testament that they had prophecies. You said, I think a book full of prophecies that some guy in the future would come along and fulfill. I never said that. I have no belief in that. I don't believe the prophecies of the Old Testament are prophecies about Jesus. I said that earlier when I was talking about the stripes of Jesus is called one of the prophecies. When you go back and look, it's not really a prophecy, but you don't hear that. You just ignore all that. So that's a hole in your argument. And you just move on. Go ahead, equivocate on to something else.
There's one opinion about that, and there's another. I believe that Isaiah 53 is about Jesus. It's pretty clear that it is. But if you
absolutely not, why don't they say Jesus? Why don't they say Jesus?
Scripture.
Why don't they say Jesus is coming? It's that hard. Why didn't Mary name her child?
Parables.
Right, parables. I understand.
Yeah. It's in the New Testament. I'm not coming up with this off the top of my head. The apostles ask him, "Why do you speak in parables?" And
that's right. The New Testament was written 70 plus years after Jesus was written, not by the people who were there, but by people who possibly talked to the people who were possibly there. That's almost two generations, but you don't accept that.
That's not really true. Mark was written inside the first century. There's a lot of speculation about
inside the what? Say that again.
Inside the first century.
Okay, thank you.
So, anyways,
Because I said that.
There's
70
there's a
years.
prophecy about Jesus in Genesis. There's
No, there's
prophecy
not.
about
No, there's not.
the seed of the woman will crush your head and you'll bruise his heel.
That doesn't have nothing to do with Jesus. You can shoehorn him into that. You can also say that Jesus was throughout because
if you only look at one, you can dismiss.
Why
him.
didn't they say Jesus? Why didn't they say Jesus?
Why did
is going
Jesus
to do
speak in
this?
parables?
No. They speak plainly here. Why don't they just say
genealogy? Look at the genealogy from Adam to Noah.
That doesn't help. That's not helpful. Richard, what do you have to say?
If you let me finish. If you look at the Hebrew names from Adam to Noah, and you look at the meanings of the Hebrew names from Adam to Noah, that's a prophecy about Jesus. Look at the genealogy from Adam down to Noah. Translate what the names mean.
We've shown you things, and you don't look at. You tell me to go look at things.
Which genealogy?
Here, I'll read it off to you. There's two genealogies from, I believe, Abraham to Jesus.
And they contradict.
That's because one is the maternal and one is the paternal.
Oh, wait. Now, Jesus is going to speak for... They're all going to speak to us in such things like that. The direct paternal is going to be paternal over here. That's kind of plain, but he's not going to say Jesus in the Old Testament. He's not going to call him Jesus in the Old Testament. Why didn't Mary name him Emmanuel?
It was a title.
Things like that. It was a title, right? No, it was a title. It's one of those...
It was an accurate title. What do you...
As you wish.
This is exactly, the reason why Jesus spoke in parables. So that you, in your pride, can continue to go on judging good and evil for yourself.
No, the reason why was because people back then who wrote this nonsense knew there would be people out here like me who would call it bullshit, and there would be people who wouldn't buy, who would be stuck in their ways, and this is their way to equivocate through it.
Okay, here's the genealogy from God to Noah, right? Really? God, Adam, Seth. I'll read the names first. God, Adam, Seth, Enosh, Kenan, Mahalalel, Jared, Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, Noah. Okay, now I'll read the meaning in Hebrew.
Okay.
The God-man is appointed, a mortal man of sorrow is born. The glory of God shall come down, instructing that his death shall bring those in despair comfort and rest. Those are the meanings of the names from God to Noah in Genesis. Now
that's true, and there's a lot more stories like that.
Now, if you consider that the people who wrote that did not expect a man to die and bring comfort and rest to people, they expected a king who would come and help lead them to victory over their enemies. That's what they were looking for. But it's the same.
When was that genealogy written?
No, don't go there.
The same cult that wrote stuff like this isn't the only one. The same cult that wrote stuff like this into their Bible didn't pass down the tradition. Like, they could pass down the Bible, but they didn't pass down the tradition of what this actually meant and what they should be looking for.
Right. Hey, Victor, may we give Richard just a few minutes? He's had his hand up several times, and
4 times so far. I'll keep trying it, though.
I'm not looking at the screen. Go ahead.
No, I apologize. Richard, would you go ahead?
Sure. And the genealogy he just gave, unless Jewish men were really good at prayer and they could purposefully have a firstborn son so that they could name them appropriately to make a story and the story work, or it's not a lineage. It's entirely possible it's not a lineage at all. It's a story within the story.
Well, man, I tell you, it's a story within a story, or it's a metaphor, it's a creative.
No. Okay, I'm not going to do. I'm not going to do all that to you.
I'm with you. No, I'm with you.
I'm not going to do it. Okay.
After the fact, it was written long before.
Dude,
the fact.
20 minutes. You just went on like 20 minutes. I've been waiting. I can't get 3. Come on, man.
I'm sorry. I interrupted you. My fault. Carry on.
Okay.
I already want, but Chris will shout at me.
Okay. So. It seems obvious to me that our instructions are written to the apt student who can do it. Okay? And it's obvious that the text is rules and encouragements and laws. Okay? The only person who could ever do this would be the hero if they did it. Ask any Christian, will you do what it says? they will say no. It's because they're not the hero. Okay? But that simultaneously means it's written for a specific individual to understand.
What does
That's
it
it.
all mean, Basil?
What does it all mean, Basil? It means it's hidden to the end and then revealed to everyone.
Right. That's
what it means. On
I knew that.
purpose.
I knew that.
On purpose.
See, y'all are on the same page. It's just
There's-
one's in the future page and one's in the past page.
There's 44 prophecies about Jesus in the Old Testament. That's just the ones that are written in a recognizable tongue, not the ones encoded, not the ones encoded in the
you hear?
genealogy, not
I'm
the
sorry.
one, not the one, that was acted out in life by Abraham, not the one acted out in life by Noah or Jonah. None of those prophecies are included, and none of them were recognized. And still, you've got 44 prophecies for Jesus in the Old Testament.
Victor, I got a question for you. Did you just say that Abraham and his son and the sheep in the bush is a foreshadowing?
Yes.
Okay, just checking.
Mathpig, you want me to use that as the thumbnail, you say? Sorry, guys.
Yes, we'll totally not technical talk, but we'll have a Tube Buddy thumbnail off, and we'll try our different versions against each other relative to the different conversation we were having. Otherwise,
That was wise to not have a tech talk. Shut up.
yeah,
Loaded contest. Mathpig's gonna win that. He's awesome with these graphics and stuff.
What do you
That's
think of the
right.
background? Yeah. No, seriously, you did that, man. That was supposed to be for later afterwards. Like, I just can't sit still. I've been quiet for like 25 minutes. I can't do nothing.
I didn't think it was possible. I thought you had muted and you were just talking to yourself.
I just always have to be doing something. I have a problem.
I'm going to go get a spot more coffee because that's what I need at 8:30 at night. You guys carry on. I'll be right back.
Can I ask Victor a question?
Yeah.
You there, Victor?
I thought it was muted.
Would it be safe to say that you believe in revelation, that you know Jesus Christ truth through revelation, as well as the scriptures and things like that, but revelation is part of it, would you say?
Yeah.
So just a different way of asking the question of what would convince you, can I ask the question, if you had a revelation that moved you to your essence and your core, and you were completely convinced, and say it was a revelation of Vishnu, and Vishnu came to you and said, look, you've been misled. Christ is just another version of me. You need to become a Hindu.
I wouldn't believe
Would
it.
that convince you? Or would you just tell yourself that it was satanic influence? So
No, I wouldn't believe it.
Even if it was equal to your prior experiences under Christianity?
I mean, one thing like that couldn't possibly amount to all my experiences under Christianity. I mean,
Okay, but he's trying to present something equal. So make it equal and then consider it.
if it came,
just say you were born in India.
My perception, in some experience that I had. Knowing what I know now, I still wouldn't believe it because your heart can fool you. Your mind can fool you.
Exactly.
I mean, do you hear what you just said, man?
I think I heard. I know what you guys think I just said, but yeah, I heard what I just said.
But you just said you're fallible.
Yes. Yeah.
Which brings up the question, how do you know you're not fallible if you're fallible?
I'm fallible, sure.
Then how do you know you're not already fooled?
Of course, to everybody else, there's a possibility that I could be wrong. I mean, I'm not so arrogant that I don't think that there's a possibility I could be wrong, but I also, with all the confidence that I can possibly have, I'm sure that I know the truth.
What if you had that kind of confidence introduced to you through a series of events, much like you've already experienced, but it was Vishnu instead of Christ? That's his question.
It wasn't a series of events alone, you know, that, and it wasn't chiefly a series of events that brought me to this point. It's like, it's the things, it's what I've been trying to explain to you while, you know, while we're being talked over and interrupted and having the subject change, that looking at the history and the prophecy and how everything complements itself backwards and forwards is what gave me the faith to live as a Christian. And when I started living as a Christian, that's when I started having experiences, you know, that verified it. I mean, actually, before that I did, but I didn't recognize them and give them credit like they came from God.
Well, that seems very subjective.
Well, everything's subjective to us. We're a subject, you know. What do you? I can only be as certain as I believe I'm able to be. You know, I have more faith in Jesus Christ than the post office. I have more faith in Jesus Christ than, you know, the fact that I'll wake up in the morning.
Yeah, that's a conversation. As I said, Victor, I would definitely like to have you on. I don't know. I'm getting towards the end of my night. I need to go to bed in the next half hour, so I'm winding down. My brain's a wee bit maxed out. I've been streaming all night. But, yeah, I'd definitely like to have that chat with you. And, yeah, that's all my input's going to be for the next wee while. It's time for me to wind down and get ready for bed.
Yeah, I'll get going soon here in a minute. I really got drawn in by Richard and his interesting story, and you know, how you guys are going through Enoch, and I thought maybe I could, with my understanding and his together, maybe we could come up with some kind of peaceable ending.
Then
Well,
I mucked it all
you're
up.
welcome in my life, and I intend no peace for our relationship. Within our understanding, one of us will bend.
Well, Jesus Christ says he doesn't come to bring peace but a sword.
True story.
I'll tell you this, man. Richard's like he's one of them things that sort of gets under your skin, and once you get to realize how nice he is, you can't hate him. He says stupid stuff, and then you want to slap him in the face and tell him to wait, you know, wise the fuck up, and then you're like, oh, if I did that, I'd feel bad because he's so nice. He does dye his beard, though, so we'll not hold that against him.
I love arguing, you know, or debating with people who are sincere and honest.
At the end of the day, Victor, why would you surround yourself with people who agree with you? It's better to surround yourself with people.
Because echo chambers make us feel good.
I would disagree.
Time for that too, to be able to have some peace and rest and not be apprehensive.
I do that on a Monday. You'll not find me between 8 p.m. UK and 8 a.m. on Tuesday UK. That's my day off the internet. I just switch everything off and refuse to argue, refuse to even reply to my friends. I take an entire 12 hours off the internet. It's the only way, as you say, you need a relaxation period. But every other time, get out there and poke people.
Oh, what do you think I'm hanging around with atheists all day for, man?
Exactly, man. Exactly. And I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate your modesty. You've been very fair in all the chats that I've seen on Discord. And if I got Richard to get you on stream, Richard, do you want to come on Sunday? Victor, I'm free Sunday.
Well, you know,
I'm not actually free Sunday.
I think I have to go to a funeral Sunday, actually, so I don't know.
I've Lucy Luxor coming on Sunday. So but Lucy's good fun. She was on earlier with me and Richard, and she's a makeup channel and a completely different community, but she was welcome to come on. And
well, she does have a makeup channel. I thought you tricked me into insulting her. I said, I don't need a makeup channel, and then I saw on the side she leaves, and then I saw #makeup channel, and I'm like,
oh no, she actually does have a makeup channel. I was picking on her because the Bible stuff was boring her, and she used to go to the makeup channel. No, Lucy is one of the nicest people you will ever meet in your life. The more she makes fun of you, the more she loves you.
Yeah, my wife likes those makeup channels. I'll send her her way.
Right on.
Yeah, it's fun. She at the moment we're doing an awful lot of live streams, and we've been doing fake drama. Lucy and it's hilarious. Lucy and God decided to stream for an hour the other day and just make stuff up. about people that generally hang out in the live chat and hang about with us. And, Critical Cripple is actually, has that's why his name is. And they literally said that they seen him running to the shop with 2 crates of Stella Artois in his hands. It's fun. We have a bit of fun.
People don't know it means he's critical of crippled people. People don't know that.
It's been flying under the radar all this time. I almost went to his Patreon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. She literally she said on stream, Mathpig, it's not working. Your channel's shit. We should just agree to disagree. Does God exist? No. Does God exist? Yes. Oh look, we'll agree to disagree. Shut the channel down. Just shut the channel down. It's not working.
How are you going to make money then? Gotta keep the suspense up. Does God exist? I don't know. Does he?
Make it a multi-part sequel.
Well, here, I'm going to be quiet now and mute myself and give power back to Chris. So, Chris, it's all yours.
If you leave before then, peace and respect, Mathpig. Thank you so much.
Yes, he'll say bye. Yeah. Well, Victor, I mean, man, I got to be honest. I think you really should, not that you should ever listen to me, but I think you really know some stuff and you should put some content. You should make content. Yeah.
You just want somebody to make response videos too.
I appreciate that, but you can go look. I don't actually do that, and
he's actually not looking for response videos. He's looking for co-hosts, and he'll only co-host people who are content creators.
Yeah,
and who thinks that you're smart and intelligent and worthwhile listening to. So you have to put at least one video out before he co-hosts.
Well, yeah, no, I don't do response videos. But yeah, I understand why you would say that. Definitely, I do. I see why, because they do it. Yeah, I got no time for that yet. Yeah, so.
Got no time for that.
Right.
Now, I'm not motivated to make money on YouTube, so really all I'd be doing is gathering people who hate me and are looking for ways to demolish me publicly, and that's really not my thing. I like to talk to people one-on-one, get to know them, and talk to them about their faith and stuff. That's my thing, one-on-one.
I get you. Yeah, that's cool.
I made Victor made £3 this month off YouTube. Thanks, Sammy. Yeah, Sammy, give me £3.14.
You're welcome.
Nice.
Hey, Victor, give Mathpig your email, and he'll give you mine. Okay.
Yeah, Victor, what I can say about Richard is, as an Australian, he's very much like a koala. He's very fluffy and cuddly and lovable. But if you take away his eucalyptus leaves, he'll fucking bite you.
He'll bite you.
Yeah, I know.
He's also a dying species then, yeah.
He seems like a nice guy, but when you're the only person who holds your belief, you have to be protective of them if you expect them to survive.
Well, you gotta defend them.
I actually believe this stuff, so I'm not defensive.
Well, I'm not. I don't mean you're defensive. I just
play around a little bit.
I just mean if you don't want to be knocked around by every Sam, Tom, Dick, and Harry, then you have to have some kind of a defense mechanism.
They can't knock me around. There's no defense against what I'm saying.
Hey, that's what I was just about to say. Richard doesn't have a defense mechanism because he believes what he's saying. So you can tell him to go fuck yourself. Your story's stupid, and he'll be like, "Yeah, I don't care. I still believe it."
Right? Yeah. I kind of.
You can't take offense in something that you do. If you take offense in something that you believe in, then you don't really believe in it. You can insult me in any way you want. That's why I'm comfortable with self-deprecation, and everybody's got the hashtag blame Mathpig, and you can all pick on me. If the world got flooded in the morning, you could blame me. And I would say that Richard told me, and I forgot to tell everybody, and, blame Mathpig. I wouldn't care, because I'm comfortable in who I am, and, if you can't be comfortable in who you are, how you gotta be quiet, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's my belief that Christian people got to be prepared to do everything that the apostles did in order to stand for truth, and that's, you may be required to die for your faith, and if you were in the Middle East, you literally would be required to die for your faith. So if you're not ready to do that, then you got to get ready to do that.
Yeah.
Again, I mentioned Critical Cripple. He said something, I think it was off stream the other day, but the question about whether God exists and where it comes from is either the most important question in the world or the most biggest waste of time. And you sort of have to just find yourself in between there and be comfortable.
I think the fact that the stakes are so high, it couldn't be anything but the most important question in the world.
Well, you see, that's, everybody is somewhere on that scale.
Yeah.
Everybody is, some people think it's a fucking waste of time, and some people like yourself, and I'm sort of about 70% leaning towards you. But yeah, that's why I'm agnostic.
We'll get you there.
Yeah.
Me or Richard will fight over your soul.
There you go.
There's only one
Richard's
God.
unbelievable at the
There's
minute.
no fight.
Richard keeps me up late at night, but we'll not talk about that.
You guys ain't right in the head. Just saying.
Chris, it's all yours, but I'm
really.
going to drop out now, man. I need to get some sleep, and I really appreciate you putting up with us. And
I enjoy
yeah,
it.
I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at your morning stream, my afternoon lunch break, and
Okay.
Saturday will be fun.
It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. See you then. Have a good night. Sleep well.
I'll be in the live chat. I just, yeah.
Yeah.
Good night, Piggy.
I'm going to go fill this real quick.
Good night, Sammy.
All right, Richard. See you in a sec.
Oh, that's right. I can't even wave bye-bye. That's a whole different setting thing. Potato! Potato!
All right. There we go. Yeah, so that was kind of one of those first meeting kind of things, you know. I kind of came in the middle of it, and yeah. So as one of my beliefs is that it's really hard to dislodge folks of their beliefs, and that's not my purpose. I'm not here to try to make atheists. I'm just doing my thing. I preach to the choir. Normally, yeah.
But in order to be entertaining, you have to, you got to stir the pot a little bit. I understand.
Normally I don't. Mathpig invited me, and I was sitting downstairs with the wife, and I was like, let me run up and join on Mathpig stream. I didn't know you were going to be here. I didn't know you as a Christian. I didn't know you were going to I didn't know things were going to happen the way they did. It wasn't my intention. And that's why normally I actually avoid. I don't normally interact with Christians on here. I don't come here to argue with you. That's not what I come here for. I prefer to be respectful. It's just,
Well, by the time you sat down and turned your camera on, you had already made up your mind you were going to, though.
But I didn't even know you were here, dude.
Go back and watch the video.
No, I mean, I sat down, I turned on my stuff, and I started listening to the thing. Now you're trying to provoke me.
I know you didn't come here. I know you didn't come here for me. But
Right.
just the look on your face when you turn on your
When I
camera, I
heard
was like,
you.
oh boy, I already know what's coming now.
Right. Yeah, when I heard you, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, I didn't come here for that. I didn't come here looking to argue with you. I didn't know what Mathpig had invited me for. So
No, I'm
normally
not
I
accusing
don't.
you of that.
I don't seek you guys out. I don't seek to. So that's kind of what I was trying to do. I was trying to make peace. Say, hey,
But you should go watch that video, though, because
which video?
because you did give me credit for answering the question properly. The last stream.
About the serpent?
About original sin.
Right. That's the whole thing, man. You said one thing and I said something else. I mean, you said one thing and I said it was wrong. And you'll deny that. You'll say the same thing. You go watch the video.
I will watch the video, but
Yeah.
you watch it too. We'll both watch the video,
Okay, we'll watch it together, hand in hand.
and then we'll fight in the comments section.
There you go.
There was something at some point you did compliment him or whatever you're saying, Victor, but I can't recall what that was about.
It was
about a very
after I
specific
read the
statement.
entire verse and showed that God actually, that his punishment was that they would die, and that it would be, and that the one day could either mean that entropy comes on that day, or that a day in 1,000 years could mean that they would not live for the next 1,000 years, which they didn't, because nobody ever did.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not wrong.
And I agree.
So I mean,
It's not wrong. It's just kind of one of those deals where God will say you will certainly die, and then they don't certainly die. I think
it
one
is
guy
for
even read this. He read the scripture, and it really made it sound like you would fall down right now and die. and he didn't.
I
But
thought
I
that,
agree.
if you read that right, just right off the top with no other information, you would think that. Guaranteed, you would think that. But it's God has always been God. And Jesus is God, and He speaks like God. He gives
See?
people the op. I'm making assertions, but I'm saying if you compare the way Jesus behaves in speaking in parables, it's the same way that God behaves and how He leads His people. He gives you the opportunity to screw up
How often did Jesus write in speak in parables?
constantly. I mean, at least you could
Because I need to
say
go check that out and see. I remember hearing it, but I don't remember the specifics of it. It's been a while. That's why I was asking.
it was either a metaphor or a parable or whatever. It's so much to the point where his apostles got frustrated and just asked him, "Why are you speaking in parables?" They were probably thinking the same thing you are. What if you would just do something, or shoot a lightning bolt? These people would believe you. And he
Right.
explains to them that that's not what he's going to do. That's just not how he's going to do it. Now,
What if he couldn't? And what if it was just all made up? That's exactly the same thing he would say. Right?
well,
If he
yeah,
couldn't
but
do that.
that's true, but that's the whole thing comes together from all angles like a patchwork quilt. You're not going to have, like I said, you could have faith in Jesus your whole life and never know another thing but that you have faith in Jesus. He's the Son of God. He died for your sins, and you would be fine. But if you want to get involved in debates with intelligent people, then you have to be willing to go back and search deep for the answer, and you always find it. Just like with dying on that day, could be entropy, could be 1,000 years.
Can you see, Victor, how though if that one specific thing falls apart, so you say, "Oh, but it's all the angles coming together." Can you see from our perspective that it's a big patchwork of pieces that fell apart? Each piece fell apart.
If you look at them each and isolate them individually, and you use a skeptical mind to look at it, it's really your desire. Like if you read the Bible desiring to disprove God, you can find enough to do it. And if you read the Bible looking to verify Him, then you'll
mirror.
find it. And it really
That's the
is
definition of confirmation bias.
No, it's the definition of faith, because if you keep looking, you find the answer.
Sort of. Yeah. I mean, tomato. You wouldn't agree on that, but yeah, I get it. That's well said.
I can accept your continual skepticism because I have to. If I want to follow Jesus' example, I can't grab you by the throat and make you do what I want you to do.
You could beat us with whips. That's not beyond his examples.
No, that's not true. He chased out the money changers out of the temple. Now, people use that as an excuse to do violence, but that's not an excuse to do violence. We are the temple, and we're free to chase every sin out of the temple as fervently and as angrily and as zealously as we want. But we do not turn our anger or our zealousness on other people. That's false, and I tell the same thing to Christians who use that verse to describe why we should go and kill all the Muslims or do anything else. I break it down for them the same exact way, and even more harshly, because they should know better.
Right. So, do you hold to theological warfare then, as in you can lie if it's for the good of God?
Oh no. Yeah, no. You have to tell the truth even if it makes you look like a fool for God.
Does God go and send a deceiving angel?
No.
Go check again.
Is it possible to be honest and make God look like a fool?
God doesn't respect people that way, so He doesn't feel like you can't make Him look like a fool. No. You can act like a jackass and make God look like a fool, make people think that He's a fool by your behavior.
Look like a fool to other people. Isn't that almost equal to?
Yeah, you can, but not by being honest.
Okay.
I don't know. Jill is being honest in the things that he espouses. Matt Powell is being honest in the things that he espouses. And even most Christians look at those guys and go, wow, That's nasty, nasty stuff you're doing there saying.
Well, there's a commandment while you're being honest to people to also be gentle and respectful too. So if you just like with the problem of evil, if you isolate a couple of God's traits, then you've got a contradiction and you got a problem. If you see the whole picture and you accept all of his traits, then it's not a problem.
I don't know. To me, that's just like apologetics.
Especially whenever we're talking about the things that the God of the Old Testament did. Just going on the words in the book, it just seems like going on what you said would be awful harsh.
What, repeating the things in the Old Testament? I'm sorry, I missed the first part of your sentence.
I think I'm missing. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
I can hear you. What'd you say?
I'm sorry, you go ahead.
Well, I thought you asked me a question.
He can't hear right now, Victor. He's having trouble with his headset. 1, 2, 3.
We can hear you.
Hello?
Chris, your sound is good.
I hear you now. Thank you. Sorry. Okay. I don't know what you're talking about. Y'all go ahead and I'll catch up. Sorry.
I think he's
you were asking
by my logic, would I be justified in exercising the same things that people did in the Old Testament? Is that what he said?
I think that was where we were going. I'm sorry, I forgot what your point was. Where was your rhetoric going? And I'll pick up where we were.
I don't think I had any. You were talking.
Okay.
We were talking at the same time.
All I remember is I interrupted you to ask you a question, and then I lost my stuff. Carry on, then. Go ahead.
I think I had pretty much wrapped it up.
Good. Well, I got to say, I do appreciate your viewpoint and your willingness to stick to it. We talk about how good Richard is. They were bragging on him and his ability to maintain his beliefs despite law because he believes it. I appreciate that in you too. That's cool that you guys believe. I mean, it just depends, man. It's not so bad until people start hurting each other and killing each other for their faith. That's really what I'm against is when
Chris, those people who want to hurt people would come up with any excuse, because it's not commanded of us to do that. It's commanded not to do it.
It just depends.
Love our neighbor.
I'm not talking about all that. I'm not necessarily talking about you and your kind of belief. I'm not attacking you at all. I'm talking about people who rub essential oils on their or holy oils on their kid's head instead of taking them to the doctor and the kid dies. That kind of harm is generally what I go after. Whenever you go watch my videos, that's normally what I'm against. The aberration of religion.
Well,
I'm sorry?
That particular example, those people should understand that Luke was a physician and he wasn't running around slapping oil on everybody. So, I mean, it's their misunderstanding and their probably apprehension to the government that would exist in them regardless of what religion they were. And then they use their religion as an excuse to fulfill it, And the same thing with the violent people, they're hateful and they've read the Bible through this lens of hatred and they focused on the violent parts and they use it to justify their hatred.
I don't really remember where it's at. I'm going to have to look this up. I'm sure it'll come up as part of my series, but there's a part in the Bible where the Lord tells somebody that we're going to start here at this temple and we're just going to kill everybody in this town who doesn't believe the way we do. And they start with the old men outside the temple. And it says that specifically. That's a vile and cruel and vicious God. That is the Lord of the Bible.
I don't think that's commanded by that. May be some there's also things that people read in the Bible that happened that they just take as a commandment from God because it's written in the Bible that it happened.
See, and listen.
Then man wrote that part of the Bible.
No,
what part of it counts then?
Like
that part doesn't count.
No, like the parts where they describe, battles where Israel was taken by Babylon, and they say your women shall eat their young and stuff. It's not a commandment to eat babies. It's a prophecy that when this happens, this is going to be terrible. There's a lot of
the
stuff
Bible is God's word.
Sorry, what?
So only part of the Bible is God's word, essentially.
Well, it's important history that God wanted us to keep track of. But
when we read that part of the text, doesn't it say God commanded?
right, if you
It
just
does.
read,
Well,
read the context, what part? Let's hear.
Okay, in the parts that you say, oh, they just wrote that down because it happened.
Yeah.
But in those same parts, it says God commanded them. Now tell me how to know the difference.
If it says God commanded him, he commanded him. Yeah, tell me.
Okay, so God commanded them to go and kill.
It's God the Lord.
Yes.
Okay.
What's okay?
No, I'm just y'all carry on. I'm just making sure while I look it up.
Give me, bring.
Because here I have a scripture. It says, then the king ordered the guards at his side, turn and kill the priests of the Lord, but that's not him. I'm trying to find the right scripture. Because the one we're talking about, the Lord, is the one who says, the Lord commanded for everybody to go through the thing, and they went through the thing. So you guys carry on while I look it up.
Well, you just have to look up the ites, the Jebusites, and the Canaanites, and
those are all the people who are supposed to be mixed with Nephilim.
You see, that's the same list.
And even if you want to believe that they weren't mixed with Nephilim, they were cannibals who were submitting their children into a fiery death. So like, even any way you cut it, like unless the Israelites, these slave band, decided, well, we need an excuse to take over this town, so we're going to write down in this book that these people were cannibals and child burners, and then we're going to go in there with our pitchforks and take over the place. Like, how much of it is true and how much of it is false is what I'm saying.
There is historical evidence to support something of what you're saying, but you also have to consider that evidence to child sacrifice in a Moloch sacrifice was also going on in the Hebrew people, in the Jews.
Okay, Ezekiel 9:3. Now the glory of the God. That's where the sentence starts, and then it says, then the Lord called to the man clothed in linen who had written Kit at his side, and said to him, go throughout the city, Jerusalem, and put a mark on the foreheads of those grieve and lament over blah blah blah, and kill those who don't. I mean, you can go look it up yourself. It starts at Ezekiel 9 and it works. I just don't want to end up reading the entire scripture here, but by not doing that, then I'm omitting stuff and taking it out of context. So I want to tell you what it is, so you can go. But it said the Lord God commanded to go, and they said slaughter the old men, the young men, and women, the mothers and children. The Lord commanded this.
It's not the only place.
It's not. It's just it was so easy to find. Just one example.
Right. There's plenty.
It says the Lord commanded idolaters killed, and usually when you're talking about idolatry, I mean, I haven't read Ezekiel in a while, but so when you're talking about idolatry in that area, it's usually Baal worship, and it's usually involves some nasty rituals, like
it doesn't say that anywhere in here. But to hear you say that, it sounds to me like you would be okay with killing anybody that you considered an idolatrist
if God told him.
No, God doesn't. Well, yeah, if God doesn't tell, or if somebody said God told him, because this guy just said one guy told another guy, and they started going.
I wouldn't personally, because I believe that the reason why Israel had to live the way that they had to do, stay separate from everybody else and keep other gods out of their culture, was so that they could survive long enough in this worship of God to bring the Messiah into the world.
Fair enough. If I mean, that there is cannibalism in the world today and child sacrifice today. You know that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if you had the means and the money, and you received in prayer from God to go and slaughter some people like that, then you would be morally bound to do it, right?
Jesus literally is a child sacrifice. By the way, Jesus literally is a child sacrifice. Before we go too far,
he's not really a child sacrifice, because he's sacrificing. He's laying down his life of his own will, and he says as much.
He's a sacrifice. He's a sacrificial
lamb.
He
says, I lay down my life and I pick it up.
Yeah, but he didn't really, did he?
Yeah, he did.
Well, for 3 days, and then he went to heaven. That doesn't really
3.5.
3.5.
You two.
You're at 3.5.
How about you volunteer?
But he
to
knew
be
that ahead of
tortured
time,
and
didn't
hung on
he?
a cross?
Well, he knew that ahead of time that he was only going to have to suffer for 3 days. You know what? I had a colonoscopy, and I was told, no, wait, I get to speak. Hold on. I had to drink this stuff. It was foul, and I spent the entire night before puking and having just through the toilet, and it was complete to wash me out so I could have a colonoscopy so I could be clean and be healthy.
Okay. Oh, that's really close to being hung on a cross after having your flesh torn open all day long.
Oh, poor baby. He was the Son of God. And then after 3 days, he went to be in heaven. And
Do you think that means
William Wallace is worse? William Wallace is not worse.
Right.
Yeah, okay. A lot of people probably got tortured worse, but they didn't do it willingly for somebody else when they were totally innocent.
William Wallace did it willingly for someone else.
And Jesus
William Wallace was a commander of an army. He was at war. He was killing people constantly. He had to know that there was a chance that was going to happen.
Lots of people have given their lives for other people. It happens all the time. It's throughout history, throughout literature. It happens.
Yeah,
your argument was it was a conscious choice. Your argument was it's a conscious choice.
Conscious choice. Lots of times.
I said William Wallace did it by conscious choice.
He did by he got
conscious choice of an innocent person.
So a man in a foxhole who's never killed anybody throws himself on a grenade. It has happened, but he's not
killing
innocent.
somebody doesn't make you innocent.
There you go. I knew that was coming. I knew it. Yeah.
Well, because in your heart, that it's true, but you deny it.
It's not good enough that it's not good enough that he throws himself on the grenade, and then he's never killed anybody and all these things. It's not. That's not. You're gonna. He didn't. Did he not do it willingly? Did he not sacrifice?
Well, I'm not discounting his sacrifice.
But he had original sin.
But what's your point?
So he's guilty,
and because of what Jesus did, he's going to heaven.
Right. My point was just that that's no big deal. His sacrifice was nothing.
It is a big deal for you. Even if you knew in 3 days you would be brought back to life, would you be willing to go through that?
Yep. Sure enough.
Yeah. Just enough, for me to tell you, brother, you'd be resurrected. You'd be resurrected in 3 days. But first, everybody gets to whip all the skin off of you. You got to go through that painful ordeal, and then you get hung up on a cross until you're dead. You would be willing to do that.
He didn't even have to be hung until he was dead. They put him out of his misery by piercing him with a sword.
Because he wouldn't die, because everyone else had died.
Not right. He wasn't
dying. I would do that.
He wasn't dying fast enough, and they wanted to get
let alone the whole world.
But
that's why they did it, because they wanted to get it done before the sun went down and get it over with.
Look, we've heard this, all right?
Yeah.
And I feel like we're kind of picking on Victor. You're holding up pretty good, though, man. You've been patient. You're not screaming and freaking out.
Well, when you believe something, you don't have to get upset that other people don't believe it, right?
Right on.
But
true story.
There was a point I was trying to make, and I got distracted.
Carry on.
Yeah. For you, I know damn well that you wouldn't go and accept just go. Well, I think I'll just go get tortured.
How do you know? How do you know? And wait a second. Wait. Jesus knew not only that he was going, if we believe in Jesus, right? Not only that he was going to be risen after 3 days, but that he was going to be the savior of every single human from now on. I would do that.
Would you? God, he already created them. It's not like he has been proud of himself. Look what I did.
He already knew. So it's not like it was any kind of sacrifice.
No, but there was a reward. The reward was described, and he knew what the reward would be.
Well, you're not even letting me finish, okay?
Dude, explaining it further isn't.
I know that I'm still gonna finish.
Okay, carry on.
I know damn well that none of us would volunteer to go through that.
You don't speak for yourself.
You speaking for seeing this? You don't know that. You can't say that.
If I was sure,
because you could.
Dude, I would lay down my life with no resurrection for 2 of my siblings.
People have talking about their lives for a lot less, and that's what we were talking about earlier.
Siblings, you act like it's no big deal. I'm asking you, if it's no big deal, would you? Just because you know you're going to get resurrected, that makes it no big deal.
No. You make it sound like it's a big deal, but it's not. It's not like he really died. Lots of people have really given their lives and been blown up and had their body parts and had to live the rest of their lives and maimed and walked around with like missing teeth and half their face gone and all this stuff. Jesus, like got whipped for a few days, got stuck on a cross, died, was resurrected, walked around poking holes in his hand and showing his people who didn't even recognize him, so it probably wasn't even the same person. And then he went up to be in heaven, and he got to be on the right hand of the Lord.
So the fact that he did it for all of us makes it worth less?
No, I'm saying other people have died and gone through worse for less.
Yeah, sure they have. They're down here with other evil people. But the point is that God, who's perfect and sinless, came from way up high down and placed himself beneath our feet. That's a much larger fall from grace that he volunteered to do, that he did not have to do. He's not obligated to do it. It wasn't part of his character that means that he has to do it. It was his voluntary will to do that for us. So God just decided to make himself lower than any of us and be tortured to death. And then, and that's not Jesus is lower than any of us. We would think and that's not so we would think he's great.
Jesus is lower than any of us?
He made himself lower than any of us. He made himself wretched and blamed for every crime imaginable, tortured,
that's biblical.
And put to death.
Part.
And it's not wrong. If what he's saying, go ahead. He's responsible for all the what? God monster.
He made himself responsible for every sin and took the punishment for it at once. And then he conquered death to prove to us that if we had faith in him, he could conquer death for us as well. That's the big deal. It's not so that we'll pat him on the back and say, good job for taking that beating, Jesus.
But you say it as if people who believed enough would once they died be resurrected or something, like they would have power.
Not believed enough, just believed.
But that doesn't happen. Oh well, you're talking about after they die in the spirit world, they come back to life. But Jesus came back to life in the real world.
Yeah, to prove that he had the power to do it.
But see, then earlier, I kind of do you want me to go get the scripture where he comes back, but people don't recognize him? Do you remember that? They don't recognize him. His own followers don't recognize him. Why is that?
Because he was beaten to a bloody pulp.
But he was even people who,
and he's not restored.
And he's not restored.
Yes, he is.
Wait, is he restored?
Beaten to a bloody pulp, unrecognizable, and restored.
They didn't recognize him because he was beaten to the point of non-recognition. And then when he came back, he looked fine. So they didn't recognize him because they're remembering, hey, the guy I know was beaten till he was bloody.
Which is more likely? It wasn't the same dude, or the same dude was beaten unrecognizable, and God, the God of the universe who created everything, couldn't resurrect him and make him look like he was before he was beaten.
He did make him look like he was before he was beaten.
What he looked like 3 days ago.
You're ignoring what I'm saying.
But you're ignoring what I'm saying.
If you saw me get beaten unrecognizable right in front of you, and then you see a guy walk up to you who's not all beaten up, you'd be like, hey, wait a minute.
Can I get a timeout?
Is that
Can I get a timeout? I mean, you already said that, but can I just ask you a question about that? Let's say that you had this friend, and you had this friend for about 3.5 years, right? And this friend got beat to bloody crap right there in front of you.
Yeah.
Right? And you left, and you thought the dude was dead. Mm-hmm. Right? You freaked out. You left.
Yeah.
Okay. But 4 days later, you see the guy. He looks perfectly fine. I think it's something that.
Wouldn't you think maybe
it would take a moment before I could put it together in my head? You think about it.
Okay. That's great. But wouldn't the 12 apostles have at least?
You're freezing up.
At least your ability.
Yeah, he is.
Sorry.
Try again, brother.
Wouldn't the 12 apostles have at least your ability?
You would think.
Well, yeah, they didn't run away from him. They just didn't recognize him at first.
Enough so that they wrote it down in the book. Well, so much so that he had to convince them that he was them, that other people had to go, look, this is really him.
And he shows him his the holes in his hands.
That doesn't make sense, dude.
It does make if it was any if it was of any significance to prove that it wasn't him, why would they put it in the book if it's fake? Why
to prove they're writing it after the fact. They're writing the book after the fact, trying to prove that their Messiah is God. Of course, they're going to write.
Why wouldn't they say he was resurrected and he still looked like he was all beaten up, and that's how we know it's him?
Because they're bad writers.
Or
they wrote
it's
the most
true.
popular book for thousands of years.
That doesn't mean it's good, brother. That doesn't mean it's good.
Or it's true and Christian doctrine is crap. It could just be we're talking about Christian doctrine here, not the text.
Or you have a deep-rooted desire to deny it.
Or you have a deep-rooted desire to believe it no matter what. I mean, it says clearly, plainly, that he was so unrecognizable that they actually had to convince these people that this was really Jesus. It sounds like Jesus may have really died on the cross. And they were trying to convince other people that this was Jesus so their little Messiah story could go on. But no, obviously the notion that Jesus was resurrected bodily, though the mighty God could not make him look like himself or did so perfectly that they didn't believe it was him, is more likely to be true than somebody saying.
There's also the fact that he was resurrected into a glorified body, not a shabby old body walking around the desert.
Didn't he still have holes in his hands?
Yes.
If he did, then that's not a glorified body, right? I mean, he's still
going to have holes. He's got a glorified body now, and he will forever. He's still got the holes in his hands. He had the holes in his hands in resurrection in the book of Revelation.
Creepy.
In the book of Revelation.
Hey, in the book of Revelation, it says they call for the Lamb. It doesn't ever call him Jesus. And a matter of fact, they call several times. They're like, "Oh my God, the Lamb hasn't come forward. They don't know where it is. They don't know what it is."
Once. That was once.
Once.
Not several times.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. But they call for it, and all of everybody throughout heaven doesn't know what the Lamb is. And then the Lamb finally comes forth and does the thing. They never call the Lamb Jesus. Jesus is referred to as the Lamb once before, but thereby again, Peter was called Satan, right?
Well,
so
we don't.
Thing, and the lamb, as you put it, is a title, much like Emmanuel.
And Jesus was the name of his body on earth,
Right. So that means we can shoehorn Jesus in anywhere where anything is referred to as thus, or if they don't give it a name, like
he has many names. He's also the tree of life.
Oh man, that's interesting.
Oh wait. 2 candlesticks, 2 olive branches. Also that.
Lost me on the olive branches. On the candlestick. Okay.
You can look it up.
No, I trust you. What's its point about the candlesticks?
He's dichotomous. He's the man God. It's always 2.
Always 2, isn't that with Sith? I think something. Is my stream? Pausing?
I think Richard's roboting a little.
Oh, now
Sorry.
you're not roboting, Sammy, but he is. Okay. You were talking about the Sith, Sammy or Richard. There's always 2. You said.
You know that the name of Jesus is actually in the book of Revelation 13 times.
Is it? I did not know. I guess I didn't know that. Apparently.
So why do you just make bold-faced claims like that when you don't really know jack?
That's right. That's true. Yeah, just like you. Dude, you've been doing this the whole time. This whole time you've been losing everything, and you think you're winning. Every point we've made, you have lost.
The point of this is not for me to win.
Now you're going to do this one thing. Let's look up
is your point that if I can't convince you to agree with me that I somehow lost?
Where's Revelation? It's at the end.
It's at the last book of the Bible.
Right, the last book written by the people who followed Jesus Christ. I wouldn't terribly be surprised if it wasn't in there. But point it to me in the Old Testament. Come on, in those prophecies. One of them.
Oh, let's go back to your home base, man.
Dude, my home base wins and yours loses every time, and you just can't see.
These are your reasons for not believing in God. I understand that, but if you think that my goal here was to convince you to believe in God, then you're wrong. And
I didn't think it was.
And when you ask me a question and I have an answer immediately in my head, to me that's not losing. Okay.
No, but so many times
if you think that that's losing because I haven't convinced you to agree with me, then
No.
then your stated reason for having this discussion was false to begin with.
On the other hand, if testimony saves people who don't believe, and that's what we're giving as testimony, then yes, there is a pass-fail. There is.
No, that's you failing to believe. That's not me failing to give my testimony. I'm called to give a reason for my faith, not to convince everybody to believe in God. Okay.
So basically, you can say anything as long as it's according to your faith. You can
If it's
say
true.
make up any no. It doesn't
If
have to
it's
be
true.
according to you. Throughout this whole evening,
if it's
let's talk about Jesus being in the old.
sincere.
Let's talk about Jesus being in the Dead Sea Scrolls, man.
Go to
And
bed.
listen, if you don't
Go
know
to
that,
bed
you
right
don't
now.
know anything.
Sorry, my
Right?
son's talking
It's
to
a
me.
Pardon
baby.
me. But yeah, let's the baby. I don't want to. Tell me
He's
when it's
up out of
clear.
bed for another kiss.
I understand.
Go
That's great. I don't know what they can hear, man. So I don't want to. I don't want to.
sleep.
I'm so jealous, brother.
I usually go hang out with him at night, and you guys are keeping me up, and now he's all pissed off.
You said you were going to leave about a half an hour ago.
Yeah,
Well, I'm having too much fun.
we humble. Thank you. We're all. I'm sorry. Fun. Yes.
He'll still be up when I get done in a few minutes. He's
Probably.
up all night, just like his dad.
Yeah. Not all.
So, like, we're called to give a reason for our faith. So if I found a scrap of paper on the ground that said Jesus died for your sins and I believed it, that's the reason for my faith. We're not called upon to beg everybody to believe in God. And,
Right.
nobody's going to do that for you.
Right. But whenever you start.
The line actually reads, a reason for the hope that is in you.
Okay, well, that's faith, man.
Okay.
So,
So
I mean,
It recommends when you're challenged, you should be able to give reasons why you believe what you believe. That's the
Yes.
idea of
Yeah.
the verse.
And I mean,
Okay.
if it only takes one reason for you to believe, then, more power to you. I wish that my faith was that simple, but I had to get there the hard way, and I had to argue with myself and argue with other people to figure
More
out
honest.
what I believed.
Let me ask you. You said it mentions Jesus in the Revelations. Does it actually mention Jesus, or does it say something like the light, and therefore we implies Jesus?
Okay,
Just
Revelation
save me some
1,
searching.
Revelation 1, the prologue says the revelation of Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Revelation 2 says, who bore witness to the word of God, to the testimony of Jesus Christ.
Okay. All right. That's cool. So whenever they called out the Lamb, where does it say Jesus Christ in there? They've referred to Jesus Christ several times up to this point in this very book. Can we go
So
to the
you
Lamb
want me
part?
to find the part of Revelation where they mention the Lamb,
Where the Lamb, but they don't call it
same
Jesus.
sentence doesn't say Jesus?
No,
The whole-
not the
You
the
see
whole
how
thing.
you don't
That's
see
not
how
really
you're
fair.
being evasive
That's
for
not fair.
yourself?
Go ahead.
The context of the entirety of the book of Revelation is about Jesus. The whole thing.
Yeah, there you go. I can take that. Yeah. There you
So-
go. Therefore,
so
the Lamb
anything-
is implied.
Anything that's said through the whole thing, it's being spoken by Jesus.
I mean, when the
Well, I thought it
first time he was
It's written down by
announced
John.
on
It's
earth,
spoken by Jesus.
John the Baptist says, "Behold, the Lamb of God who will take the sins away from the world."
Right.
It was like the first title that John gave him when he saw him.
Right. That's what I said earlier. I literally mentioned that somewhere else in the thing it's going to mention Jesus being the Lamb. And
Well, I just
therefore,
wish you would ask questions in the form of a question rather than in a declarative statement of knowledge that you don't have.
hey, wait a second. Let's go back to you. You're the one who said that Jesus was in the
tit for
Dead Sea
tat.
Scrolls. Right? You said that, and it took somebody else to
I
prove
said
that.
the
If you know
Beatitude- I
that and
said
you don't
the
know that, then
sermon-
what do you know?
I said the Sermon on the Mount was in the Dead Sea Scrolls.
And somebody else said it wasn't.
Well, he
And
lied
we're-
because it
He
is.
lied. It's not.
It
And
is.
Jesus
The
is the one.
Beatitudes. The Beatitudes are from the Sermon on the Mount. They are contained in the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Okay.
Okay? Look it up. Don't just nod knowingly. You know I'm right, so you won't look it up.
No, I won't look it up because
Okay.
you go look it up.
I did before I made
No,
sure.
you did
I made
not.
sure before I told you. I did look it up.
Okay, carry on.
I like to verify things before if
No,
somebody
you do
disagrees
not,
with
brother.
me.
We started
If
this thing
somebody
out
disagrees
saying
with
one
me
thing.
and they sound sure, I go look it up,
Okay.
which I did. but you won't because you don't want to look like a fool on your own channel.
Dude, it's not even technically it's not even my stream.
It's
I just
your
took
channel.
it up for, it is my channel. That's right. Normally I don't have people like you on my channel. I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean that is it.
I understand why, because you would look foolish more often.
No, dude, that's not it.
Ooh, that's wrong, man.
No, it's only wrong if I do it.
He got 3 or 4 on me,
Yeah,
man. Give me a
it's
break.
all
I got
right.
credit here. I got credit built up on this channel.
On several occasions, he said this about me, but that's okay. Go ahead.
I do expect more out of a Christian. Sorry.
I don't. We've seen history. Christians lie. We've got a whole.
Telling somebody
logical
that
fallacy.
they're behaving foolishly is actually a favor
But
to
you
them.
did that first by stating that you
When they're
should trust
doing
him
it.
because he was a Christian. So now we've got the
I said I can demand more because he's a
because
Christian.
of right for the same reason
A
I can
Christian
demand
can
less
demand more. A Christian can demand more.
That's right.
of a Christian, perhaps.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
because
we can agree.
another person doesn't really know the standard.
Right. We don't know the secret
If
handshake.
you're not gonna follow Christ, then you can't get on me if I'm not following Christ well enough. And telling somebody that they're acting foolish when they're acting foolish is a favor to them. Jesus did it.
I guess it would be seen that way. Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah. That sounds good.
But still, it's a logical fallacy to confuse the practitioner with the practice.
Right. So neither of us must do it. Right. If you can do it, I can do it. That's all.
Oh
I'm saying.
no! I'm saying Christians who have done horrible things in the past does
Oh.
not disprove Christianity.
True.
Okay.
No. Yeah, we can agree on that. That's cool. But by that same token, we can't trust them and expect. We cannot trust and expect more of them because they're Christians.
No, absolutely true.
Right. But that was
You can ask-
You started that with that statement.
You can ask for it and be hopeful, though.
Right.
I ask for it and
But
I'm hoping.
if somebody is deluding themselves out of an opportunity to have faith in God by thinking that they know things about the Bible and stating them to be true when they're not, and I tell them that's foolish, I consider that a favor, okay?
Okay.
Because it's honest.
That just
I don't
that just
dislike you.
reminds
I don't
me.
have contempt for you, but that was a foolish thing to do, to step out and say that you know something that you don't know and that turns out to be false.
Well, no. At least whenever I found out it was false, I went, "Man, all right, I get that. Yeah, okay."
No,
I
you
see
just
that.
said it again.
No, we're talking about Jesus being in Revelation. Whenever you guys said Jesus, we're talking. Sometimes I think me and you aren't talking about the same thing, man.
We're
Sometimes-
talking. You just brought up the Sermon on the Mount again after I
No.
already proved earlier that it was in the.
No,
Dead
you did not prove anything.
You didn't prove it.
You didn't prove
You
a
didn't.
damn.
You
just said
stated it
proved
as a
something.
fact.
So
You
get
didn't
your
prove
ass
it.
on there
Yeah,
and prove
well,
it.
it's the Dead Sea Scrolls.
no,
You
let's
can
prove it.
easily
Come on.
Google it. Where do you want me to put it
And
for
listen,
you?
if you can't prove it, are you wrong? And do you give up your faith? Because that's the way you keep talking. And let's see them mention Jesus. Because who knows? I don't know enough about them. I'll even let you say it. Let's find Jesus in there. That's fine. I'll let that go. You're the one who, without anything, said so. You're tick, 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 bringing it up now.
I'm bringing it up because you
What?
asked me to.
Okay, carry on.
Okay, now
Because I'm willing. If you prove me wrong, I'm willing to go. Okay, Jesus.
if I'll
write that down. I'll
everybody
add that to my
knows that
list.
the Dead Sea Scrolls are readily available on. Yeah, I didn't say.
But
he
now
said
it's got to
they're
be
not.
specifically
Can I
Jesus.
talk? Can I talk? Whoever this guy was said they're not in there. I said, yes, they are. They're in the Dead Sea Scrolls. I gave evidence. I didn't whip out the Dead Sea Scrolls and screen share and show them to you. So that means I didn't give you proof. Anybody can prove me wrong by searching the Dead Sea Scrolls.
I think my kind of question. We were talking about I think we've lost the point, and you're welcome to look it up and find it now. That's great, but I think we've moved away from the point. It wasn't so much about what was in the Dead Screw, is what was not in the original text. So if there's things that are in later texts that are not in the original text, do you? So can we? Let me ask that question. Do you ascribe to that?
Well, that depends what you mean by later. Like I know that there's a passage added at the end of Mark that probably shouldn't be there. You know,
Well, I was under the understanding that most of the other books were based on Mark, but they're kind of not, right?
They use the narrative as a reference to maintain the story in a chronological order, and the important details that need to be put in there are put in there.
But I mean, in one chapter, maybe I misunderstood. In like Matthew, Jesus is born and goes south and does this over in Egypt. In Mark, Jesus is born and goes north, and something completely different happens. I thought we had
No, it's
different
not like
tales
it's not,
of different
not
stories.
exactly. Not exactly.
Not exactly. Okay.
Yes.
Or
Because because every detail of his life isn't mentioned in every story, that doesn't mean that they're not consistent.
Right.
Some versions focus on one part of his ministry, and other versions focus on other part of the ministry. John, for instance, goes back to the beginning of time, and the other ones don't do that. So that means they're inconsistent. No, some of them focus on like one in particular focuses on his godhood. One in particular focuses on his manhood. One in particular focuses on his ministry to the Jews. There are 4 different purposes. That's why they focus on different aspects of his ministry, and they follow that theme. This isn't just like some category that somebody arbitrarily placed them into, like a different drawing of Superman made by a different comic book artist.
Right. Well, let me ask you, since I've got you, your opinion about something else, totally different, but related to the Bible. The last part of the book of Revelations, doesn't it talk about you shall not change or add to, or am I wrong in remembering that?
It does say that, yes.
There's like a warning at the very end of Revelations,
yes.
Warning not to change, add to. So would that, in your opinion, would that include things like the NIV, the King James Version, anything outside of the original where they've added to or changed things? Because it specifically says that. Now, I'm not trying to be contrary with you. I'm honestly asking your opinion as a Christian. How do you feel about that particular scripture applied to more modern day, easier readings of the text?
For the book of it's referring to the book of Revelation. In the beginning of the book of Revelation, there's a blessing for people who try to understand it, and at the end, there's a curse for people who try to screw it up.
Okay, so the same question applies then, and it's really a question more about the people who made the changes in the newer Bible. Do you think that has any implication for them? Because they're not the same.
If they sincerely, and I know there's versions of the Bible that do try to liberalize the theology. So if they translated it in another language to try to spread the gospel and try to stay true to what it is, then no, I don't think any sin has incurred. I mean,
it's just when they add things that really weren't there. Like you said, Mark, that one book there was an additional chapter at the end. I'm sorry, I'm not watching the chapter.
There's verses that Pentecostals in particular use to try to force people to invoke spiritual gifts to manifest their faith and stuff, and there you go. Right there is a good lesson for people who tried to add to it to make it, spice it up or complete it or whatever. That's something that they shouldn't have done, because look what it led to. It led to people literally believing that in order to be Christian, you have to invite another spirit to take control of your body and have some kind of physical manifestation out of you, or you actually don't have faith. So it's a very good example of why that's such a terrible thing to do.
Of a type of heresy.
Yeah, I don't a dangerous error, I don't really use the word. That's more of like a Catholic word.
Yeah, well, yeah. Anything outside of the normal. Yeah, I get you. All right, guys. We've been going for a couple of hours now, and I would enjoy continuing. Thank you for stopping by. I wish you had a channel. I would tell people to go to your channel. I got to get up. I get up at 3:30 in the morning. And it's 9:30 now, so I got to go. I appreciate you. Despite our disagreements and our misunderstandings of each other, thank you for stopping by and talking to me.
It was a good exercise jousting with you.
It was fun. I am not above saying I learned something.
What doesn't kill me makes me stronger.
Yes, and I guess I'll wait for Richard. I'll just end the stream and wait for Richard to come back, and I'll say bye to Richard. Sammy, thank you for stopping by, and we'll get folks to stop by your channel. I'll get some links from Mathpig. I didn't give any description. I didn't know this was going to happen. So
I'll shoot Richard a message. I'm going to go tuck my son in.
There you go. Good. Thank you for spending that time with us. I know that was your family time. You guys have a great night, and I'm going to just end the stream, and if y'all want to hang in the chat for a minute while we get things said by them.
Can I just say #blame Mathpig?
You know, I think we should, because Mathpig, he is deserving, and there it is.
All right.
We've got to
Good
do
night,
that.
guys.
So,
Good night.
thank you all very much. Y'all take care.
Yeah, no.
All right, let's see here.